Salutations, my fellow dandies! It's me, Jack Dandy, and we're back in Final Fantasy XIV for what might be the end of Stormblood. I got 10 missions left. I don't realistically think we'll get to the end of those 10 missions, but we'll get close, and that's worth something. And look, I have the otter minion. So I was last week talking about how I unlock him, and I saw someone with him. And then I realised, I don't know how much it is to buy. And it's like 200 gil. I also bought a load of other minions as well, because I was just going through the list and there were loads for like 10 or 50, like under 1,000 gil. And I was like, yeah, I might as well just buy all these. So I have the otter. Everything is good. You can tell how long I've been here again by how dark it is now that I come out of photo mode. Salutations, Council Stone. Hope you're well and dandy. So, last time we were trying to power, or steal the power, to the Steps Allagan battery thing, so that we could power the shield generators in the burn. So, let's go and talk to Y'shtola. And, yeah, unlock the Endure remote. We have the requisite consent. 'Tis time to put Nama's power to use. Its aether flows as planned. All that remains is to have the Ironworks engineers do their work at the ruins. Come, let us return to the House of the Crooked Coin. I don't know why it's called the House of the Crooked Coin, but there's nothing there that looks coin-shaped. It's all like a weird mesh of pillars and shears. Let's go and have a look. You have every Assassin's Creed game. Well, good for you. I have most of them, despite not being a fan of Assassin's Creed. I've just accumulated them like houseflies. I shall begin at once. You may wish to step back. I do not. I want to watch. I want to put my face up against yours and watch intently. Yes, this doesn't look. I mean, it looks crooked. The crooked part, I understand. The coin part's a mystery. We never really address how powerful Y'shtola actually is. She is really, really powerful.
Did it work?
It did. Ether may flow freely to the burn once more.
Do we not need to like put in like a plug with like a really long cable to take us to the desert? You know, like just like string a load of adapters back to back. No? I do not pretend to understand what you did, Y'shtola, but you did it. Thanks to you, and Jack, of course, we have taken a momentous step towards securing our defenses. Now, as much as I believe a rest is in order, we should probably make haste back to the Enclave. Agreed. The others may have already returned from their missions, and I would know how things stand. As would I. Without further ado, then. See you there. No one ever wants to travel with me. Alright, back to the Enclave, then. Wait, no, I can get there close. Yeah, we go. I don't know why it never lets me just go in here when there's a perfectly good Aetheryte shard to teleport to. Recently discovered it's based on a real assassin organization back in the 11th century. Ah, is that so? I mean, I imagine very, very, very loosely based. They're doing one in Japan, finally, which, honestly, I just feel like it's just going to be a worse Ghost of Tsushima. I just don't know how they can make a game better than that, so why bother? But, you know, good, best of luck to them. Judging by your triumphant expressions, I take it all went well on the Azim Steppe. Indeed, we have secured a suitable source of energy for the barrier. Good. Tata and I have commissioned Garland Ironworks to ensure that the field generators function as they should. A team of engineers stand ready to set out for the burn at a moment's notice. You need only say the word. I thank you for engaging their services on our behalf. The minutiae of the arrangement you may leave to me. Which just leaves the small matter of our alliance. So, Yugiri and Hakuro, how fared you with our neighbours? My lord, all of the factions we approached are in agreement that the Empire poses a threat, and many responded positively to talk of an alliance. From Hingashi and Suya no Sato, however, we received outright rejections. The former will not break its treaty with the Empire, and the latter will not involve itself in conflict. Just as we expected, then. Well, there is naught to be done about it. We must focus on the rest. To each of the nations that were amenable to an alliance, I will personally send a missive. And once I have attended to that, I believe we'll have done everything we can do to fortify Doma's defenses. For the time being, at least. All of which means I may leave for the meeting in Alamigo with a lighter heart. Yugiri, Hakuro, if you'd be so kind as to hold the fort in my absence. My friends, we could not have achieved so much in so little time without your help. For that, I give you my heartfelt thanks. Till the meeting, then. Nod. I took the liberty of asking Thancred to attend as well. He should have arrived in the Alamigan Quarter by now. Then let us not keep him waiting, shall we? Oh, I guess we're leaving Kogane again. Bye. I mean, Hien, you're supposed to be coming with us. I guess I'll see you there. I don't know why I walk outside. I can teleport from indoors. I gotta be careful because I've been spending money on my retainers, getting them gear, and there was a point when I only had like about 2,000 gil to my name. I fortunately sold some stuff, so I'm flush at the moment, but I was down to about 2,000 gil, and considering the amount of teleporting I need to do, it's costing me like 500-600 gil at a time to move to each of these places. I'm at risk of running out of cash and having to walk. Just like cements my status as the hobo champion of Eorzea. So, yeah, I'm gonna be late to the peace talks because I can't afford the bus. So, walking over, I'll be there in a few hours. Y'shtola has told me all, and I duly told Urianger and Kryl. Kryl, in particular, was concerned about Alphino, but I assured her that everything that can be done is being done. She agreed to continue with her own tasks for the time being on the continent that I contact her the moment there is any development. So that leaves 4 of us to attend the council. Aronrod is here to assist with security. I don't see him. Incidentally, though the poor lad seems altogether too distracted for the task. Another one missing Elfino, I expect. But it's almost time. As soon as you're ready, present yourself to the guardsmen at the palace entrance. I shan't be far behind. Hi. Here for the peace talks. Sons of the 7th Dawn. Welcome to Alamigo. The Alliance leaders have already arrived. May I show you to the meeting chamber? Several cutscenes will play in sequence. Okay. Well, it's a good job. I made the right decision last week to not play this mission at midnight then, and just said, we'll start next week with this one.
Mistress Lys, Commander Aldin, it gives me great pleasure to formally welcome the city-state of Alamigo to the Eorzean Alliance.
The pleasure is ours, Your Grace. I know I speak for all Alamegans when I say that we are glad of this chance to stand with our comrades of the Alliance.
And we, for our part, are glad indeed to be able to welcome friends both old and new.
Lord Hien of Doma, at your service. Pray, accept my heartfelt thanks for your generous invitation.
Nay, 'tis we who must thank you for journeying so far. And 'twould be remiss of me not to acknowledge the part the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have played in bringing all of us together. In times of great unrest, you and yours have been our constant companions, without whom we would not be here.
In hindsight, it's probably a good thing that there weren't more of us attending, because it doesn't look like there's enough chairs for any more than this. They'd have to Arenvold would have to stand, and that'd just be awkward.
With apologies to Lord Hien and Mistress Alize, it occurs to me that we have not gathered in this way since that fateful day in Uldar.
Oh yeah, when you died. I remember that.
The day I lost my arm and my freedom. As I lay in my cell, never did I dream that I would one day be given the chance to represent my homeland at this council.
Could we stop raising flags, please?
I would not even be alive had you not plucked me from the jaws of death. You, Yugiri, and Alphino. Would that the lad could be with us.
We're coming to the end of another DLC, like post-expansion main scenario quest, and you're raising the exact same flag. Like, oh man, it'd be awful if that happened. Like, oh, my other arm! Oh no, now Pippin's gonna have to take both my swords. And Pippin's like, oh, this one's heavy enough, I can't take two.
I too owe my presence here to Alphino, in so many ways. Until such time as he returns, I mean to carry on his good work as best I can.
Come, friends. Let us leave the past in the past and turn our eyes to the future. My Lord Hien, pray, tell us how things stand in the east.
Having heard the rumors of dissent in Garlemald, I dared to dream of a peaceable solution.
The Empire will not so easily change its ways.
No, we just kill all the people who want war, and then all that's left is the people who want peace. Problem solved.
If the Garleans have a mind to take back Doma and Alamigo, we'll be hard-pressed to stop them, even with the might of 6 nations. But while we lack the strength to fight the tide, a course may yet present itself, if we read the winds aright.
The winds suggest but one course to me. One which leads from the sea unto the river, and thence to the source of all our woes.
The Ascians.
Indeed. All here have felt their blighted touch. It was the bringers of chaos who nurtured the Archbishop's tyrannical ambitions. They who bestowed upon him the secrets of summoning, as they have so many others before and since. And while they remain, we shall know no peace.
Our objective is clear. The question is how to achieve it. That our enemy parades about in Xenos' skin poses problems in itself, but ere we get to them, how are we to infiltrate the Empire and get close enough to strike?
While I see the wisdom in targeting the Ascians, an assassination attempt on Garlean soil would do little to aid our cause.
I was
Even
literally
were
just
it to
thinking.
succeed, it's time we used our enemy's preferred tactic. Subterfuge.
I was just thinking, like, can we not just sneak in and kill the Emperor? Like, send Ugiri, she's really good. Send Ugiri and Thancred, the two of them together. They're both really good at espionage. Just, bam. And then just sneak back out again. And then just see what happens.
You have an idea?
Speak your mind, Master Thancred. None here know the enemy better than the Scions, and you mayhap best of all. Whatever it is you propose, we will give it fair hearing. On that you have my word.
Very well, Admiral. My proposal is thus.
I like how shiny the table is. Just it's got actual reflections on it. It's nice.
We dispatch the shinobi to Imperial territory.
Oh.
There, they sow the rumor that the Crown Prince perished in the battle for Alamigo, and that the man parading around is in fact a corpse inhabited by a servant of darkness.
Ah, so by subterfuge you meant tell people the truth. Like exactly the truth. I think that's the opposite of subterfuge.
Well, it does have the ring of truth about it.
I mean, it is
And
the
were
truth.
the Garleans to learn that their future ruler is a puppet, the Empire would be shaken to the core.
But at the risk of sounding stupid, would they actually believe such an unlikely story? I didn't.
Ordinarily not. But prior to his miraculous recovery, rumors of Xenos' death had already begun to circulate around the Empire. Ultimately, however, what the masses believe is not our chief concern. Our true objective is to create an opening for rival factions within Garlemald to exploit.
Just as a war of succession erupted in the wake of Emperor Solus' death.
A war which raged until but recently, plunging the Imperial House into disarray as nephew and uncle grappled for the throne.
Ah.
It is no coincidence that one of Varys' first acts as Emperor was to name Xenos heir apparent. Family feuds being so tiresome when armies are involved. Not all welcomed his choice of successor, however. There is no shortage of individuals who aspire to the throne, who would jump at any chance to seize power. The news that Xenos is not only dead, but a puppet to diabolical forces, would be too enticing to ignore.
The Empire would not be quick to recover from a second war of succession.
I am no stranger to infiltrating Imperial territory. With a team of operatives gathered from among the Alliance's finest, the plan should have a reasonable chance of success.
Salutations, Amy. Hey-oh to you too. Hope you're fine and dandy
Doma
today.
already has shinobi in place throughout the provinces. We stand ready to act, and act we must. What say you all?
I got my rose. Oh yeah! So you do. That must mean I have mine as well. Hang on. I haven't typed in chat today. Hey, look at that. Congratulations on your 6 months of subscribing to me. And thanks. But now, you've got 9 months to look forward to.
I'm for Master Thancred's proposal. We shine a light upon the Ascian and test the Empire's unity. 'Twas his plot that scuttled Doma's negotiations, was it not? Why then, if we can eliminate him, there may yet be a chance for peace.
I don't think that's Merlvib's normal voice. Did they replace... I think she hasn't been in the plot for a while. Did they replace her actor?
Let us wage this war of subterfuge, that we may one day lay down our arms. Gods know we never will while the Ascians remain.
I don't remember it being so East End. She's... Oh, hang on. I'm getting an echo.
Sorrow.
Oh, It's new that the echoes started talking to me. Hydaelyn, what's happened to you?
History must be changed.
Oh, is someone from the future, like, echoing me back through time?
Ahead looms a calamity.
Oh, with a capital C.
Ahead looms light, expunging all form and life. Twin dooms only you can forestall. Only you.
What's the matter?
Only you can forestall the coming of light. You're the only one wearing sunglasses.
There's a voice.
Oh, okay, it's not just me, it's all the Scions.
Spies in our midst? Nay, I sense no such presence.
Let expanse contract. Eon become instant. Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Pro tip, if you're sending a message through time, try and make it succinct and clear.
Is it over?
Recap. Not much. We powered up the Allagan battery thing that we were fighting over last week, and we've powered up Doma's, or at least we're working towards powering up Doma's shield to defense from the Empire. And now we're at a well, not like a peace summit, but we're just like a head of state of the Eorzean Alliance and the Scions discussing what to do about the Empire. And so they've decided to stir up unrest in the Empire by telling people the truth, like that the Empire's son is a zombie, and they're like, we'll use subterfuge by telling the truth. It's like, really? That's not. And then someone started talking to our head,
Master Thancred.
and Thancred really didn't like it.
12 for Fend. Bear him to a private chamber. Have every healer make ready. Swiftly!
I don't know why Thancred took the brunt of that. I mean, maybe it's because... I mean, Alisei and Y'shtola don't have the echo either.
Master Thancred remains in slumber. Though his vital signs appear stable, he's unresponsive.
Oh, unless it was Thancred sending the message.
What could have done this? And why just him and not the others?
I'm afraid we could not identify the cause, milady. Our examinations revealed no wounds, nor the presence of any poisonous substances.
Gods, that only makes it worse. You're to let us know the moment there's any change, all right?
Thank you for coming. Knowing Thancred, he would apologize for being otherwise engaged at so crucial a juncture.
Lys used to be a Scion at least. Why wasn't she affected? It's like current members only.
In gifting us a course of action, Thancred sowed the seed of all that is to follow. We have but to nurture it as best we can. To him, I would say, rest easy, that he may wake to enjoy the fruits of our labors.
I look spiffy, thank you. This is my new default costume that I put on when I don't have any new clothes for a while. It's the closest thing that I can get to what I actually wear.
Now, the matter of the mysterious voice must not be forgotten. Will you tell me exactly what happened?
Although I've been thinking I might put together a set that looks. I don't think I can get the shirt, but I'll see if I can put together a set that looks like my green suit as well, and so I can alternate. Maybe when I become a.
and I heard a voice in the moments before Thancred collapsed. It was accompanied by a severe headache, as if something were clutching at our minds. Did you experience the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe once I become a samurai, I can put together a green one, and I can switch over to becoming a green. Because I'm currently a red mage, so I feel like I have to stick with the red for at least the next 15 levels. But when I hit 90, I'm planning to switch over and become a samurai for a bit. So maybe I'll switch to green when I become a samurai. If you should get glasses. I thought about wearing sunglasses to match Dandy in game, but I feel like sunglasses are a crime time thing, and so I don't want to wear them for Wednesdays and Thursdays. It's a slippery slope.
So, in between the voice and the pain, you
Oh,
felt as
normal
if you were somewhere
glasses.
else entirely.
I do have normal glasses, I think, but the sunglasses are my look now. I've gone for the Johnny Bravo look, and I'm sticking with it.
Your testimony confirms my suspicion. That which you experienced was, I believe, your soul being plucked from your flesh.
Oh, my VTuber.
Cold.
Oh, nah. Maybe if I ever do like a dramatic reading or, I don't know. I don't know, but no.
Cold.
Anyway, we've been called.
I myself examined Thancred.
This is what the Ghostbusters must have felt.
Reach out as I may, I could not sense in him the spark of life that is his soul.
Ah. Has Thancred been spirited away? Again?
That Thancred alone was stricken so is likely due to his heightened sensitivity to the effects of ether. A consequence of his prior possession by the Ascian La Habrea.
Just give you an option to remove your glasses. Yeah, but I mean, someone's only ever redeemed that once, and it was you. So, it's not a popular option. So yeah. Plus, I'd have to change all my artwork, and yeah, no.
The owner of the voice, whoever it may be, reached out to you, called your souls, and in so doing, caused you and yours such pain.
But if that's true, where exactly are we being called to?
So what you're saying is that we survived because our souls were stronger than Thancred's. Thancred's weak and flimsy soul.
I know not. Yet one thing is plain. Whoever waits for you on the other side is possessed of a power unlike any I have ever known.
Forgive us, Lys, but may we leave Thancred in your care for a time?
As if you had to ask. I may not be a scion anymore, but I'm no less a friend. Don't worry. I'll see to it that Thancred's well looked after. Just focus on solving this mystery, all right?
Thank you, Lys.
So I'm guessing we're finally into like the build-up.
As the Elder Seedseer says, 'tis no ordinary individual we are dealing with. Nor can we discount the possibility of Ascian involvement.
We're sort of finally in the build-up to Shadowbringers now, I think.
Whoever or whatever is behind this, the sooner we find out, the better.
We haven't checked that we all heard the same thing as well. We just... Is that DLC? Yeah. So we're currently in Stormblood, which is the second expansion. And Shadowbringers is the third expansion. And then we've got Endwalker, which is the current fourth expansion. And next year, probably, or maybe the year after... I think next year, but I think they do it every 2 years as an expansion. Or maybe 3. I don't know. There'll be the 5th expansion. Ooh, do I have anything to eat? Yeah, let's use this purple carrot juice. They've stopped asking me for purple carrot juice, so this is sort of a waste of money. I just tried to call Urianger on his link pearl. He didn't respond, but I dare to hope that he possesses some knowledge we do not. Or he just hasn't paid his phone bill. Ah, Urianger. Something happened during the meeting. Thancred's collapsed. A disembodied voice suddenly started... What? But that's... We should talk about this in person. Alright, we'll meet you there. That was Urianger. He heard the voice too. I mean, yeah, I guess it is just like current scions. In Thanalan. As we alone were affected at the meeting, I had my suspicions, but if the voice also spoke to Oriange, there can be little doubt. The scions were targeted specifically. So that means Tartaru, Kryol... Oh, we should check in on Tartaru. Her soul's definitely not as strong as Thancred's. By whom and to what end? I mean, her liver is incredibly powerful, but her soul... No. By whom and to what end is the question. One to which we must find an answer with all possible haste. I think that switched to Y'shtola at some point, and I was still doing Alistair's voice. Whatever. I have a new emote. That's not the right button. I can now endure. I'm gonna be honest, that's not dissimilar to... wait, which was the one? Oh no, I guess it's... Okay, clenched teeth. It's subtle. There's subtle differences. Pocket stakes, yeah. So what I did between last week is, so I've talked about this before, I've leveled up my cooking by turning stuff into my grand company and not actually doing any cooking. So I was like, how much is it going to cost me to buy gear and armor so that I can actually start cooking again properly? And the answer was more than I can afford. So I was looking at other options, and what I've done instead is I've leveled my retainer and given her loads of gear, and then sent her out on ventures. So she's been getting money and stuff for me, and then I'm hoping that I can use that money to then buy myself proper fishing and cooking gear, and I can then start leveling up my fishing and cooking properly again. Maybe. Because I spent, and as you just said, because I spent all the money that I made so far on new minions, including this little otter guy with his hat. I bought like 20 new minions because they were cheap. And yeah, so I've got my little otter friend for the time being. He just runs around and takes his hat off. He's great. Look at him. Yay! Oriange agreed to meet us at the Rising Stones. If any of the others heard the voice, we'll find out soon enough. Good luck. I shall try to get back to the meeting with the Outer Seed Seer, but if there's anything I can do, anything at all, you must let me know, alright? Promise me. Alright, let's be on our way. And away we go again. Man, it is... I do really... Oh, wait, no, hang on. Maybe it's going to teleport us there. Hey, it did. Ah, is that Hori? It's been a while. What's up?
Oriange! Gods, it's good to see you.
Would that our meeting were under happier circumstances. I judged the voice sufficient cause for concern even before you sent word of its effect on our comrade.
I've mentioned it before, but I'll be clear. I don't like the hats that the Elysians wear that cover their ears like that, because for two reasons. A, it looks dorky. B, surely he can hear better if he just had ear holes and his ears just poked out the sides. Surely that's got to like hinder his ability to hear the conversation. If I covered my ears, well, as I do currently, with cloth, I mean, it's headphones, but same difference. I mean, that would muffle. That's why they call them ear muffs. Maybe Elysians have really good hearing, though, and it's like Spider-Man with his goggles. He has to kind of temper it.
You heard it too, then?
Aye. And all but certainly at the selfsame instant. Alas, pained as I was, I could make little sense of what few words did then reach mine ears.
Y'shtola's got big cat ears, and she doesn't wear a hat that covers them up. Silly.
Who do you think is responsible? Could this be the Ascians doing?
Imagine if the bunny people wore a big hat which just covered their ears. They'd look ridiculous.
That I cannot say. Not when so little is known. Ere I indulge in speculation, I would examine Thancred with mine own eyes.
Oh, why didn't you come to us then? Why did you make us come all the way here?
To Alamigo, then, without further delay.
We just came from there.
One other thing. During my visit to the Far East, I observed a strange phenomenon.
Thou referrest, I presume, to the localized reduction in etheric density.
Well, that spares me the trouble of an explanation. Yes, I noted precisely that at two apparently unconnected locations. I take it the phenomenon is not limited to the Far East.
Indeed not. Of late, our agents charged with surveilling the beast tribes have spoken of little else. In every corner of the realm, they tell of places in which the ether hath grown thin.
Ah.
Naturally, my suspicions first turned to primal activity, but the areas thus affected betray no evidence of summoning. I must confess to being quite perplexed.
If the same phenomenon is being observed in multiple locations on opposite sides of the world, we may safely discount regional factors. Needless to say, this warrants further investigation.
Indeed, I shall make it my task to... The voice. It calleth to me once more.
Oh. Are they going to take the souls of all of the Scions? Oh, there goes Y'shtola.
I hear it too.
Oh, there we go. I thought we were...
Only you.
I thought we were going to be left out.
No! Y'shtola! Urianger!
Throw wide the gates.
No. No, this can't be happening!
Again, make the messages clearer, please. What does throw wide the gates mean? And stop killing my friends!
Y'shtola! Urianger! Open your eyes!
Well, at least we don't have to go back to Alamigo.
Open your eyes, I beg you! Say something. Anything. Not again. Please. Not again.
No. I'll wait till someone else helps. I'll just stand here and consider. Hey, it was Hillary. Forgive me, that was an unseemly display. It happened before your very eyes, my lady. None here would have behaved any differently. We have borne the two of them to a private chamber. But tell me, is it true that Master Thancred languishes in a state in Alamigo? I'm afraid so. Though given the circumstances, it would seem best to observe them together. I will send word to Lys that he should be brought here. Take heart, my lady. The word is full of scholars and knowledgeable folk of every persuasion. Someone out there is bound to know what all ails our comrades, and how it may be cured. Thus, we will rouse them, no matter what. Unfortunately, one of those people was Urianger, and he is one of the people needs curing, which is unfortunate. That we will, Hori, that we will. But first things first, our comrades will have questions. May I ask you to explain the situation to them? I must attend to a private matter. Should we not check in on our other Scion friends? Like I said, Tataru, Kryl. I think those are all of the Scions. I think... Arenvold. There's the other one. You know, especially Kryl and Arenvold. They have the Echo. Oh, I promised I'd visit someone in Limpsa Leminsa. He's been waiting at Maelstrom Command for a while now. You know, you should come along too. I think he'd be glad to see you. Okay. Who could it be? Oh, that's exciting. And endure. I guess that's why they gave me the endure remote, because I endured. Yeah, makes sense. It makes more sense than some of the other remotes they've given me this like... Don't recognize it. I always like to stop and listen to the songs when I hear someone playing, just to see if I recognize the song, but I don't. Is the top of my pomp a different red? Yeah, it is slightly different. Basically, the red that they give you is too dark. This isn't who I need to meet. The default red is a bit too dark, but you can put a highlight on it to make it slightly lighter. But it only applies to the top of the pomp. So the side of the pomp and my beard are a slightly darker red than the top of my pomp. It's unfortunate. I want to make my hair just like a nice bright anime red, but if the game refuses. As you probably guessed, it's Gabu we've come to see. No, what? Who? Oh, Gab, I remember. Yeah. Oh God, we haven't seen him for ages. Is his mind okay? The privateer will bring him out to us. Ever since the Maelstrom took him in, I've tried to visit as often as I can, and after what befell our friends, I was taken by the urge to visit again. It's difficult to explain. Yeah, he got all primaled, and lost his brain. But then he talked at the end, and it was like, oh, Gabu. Maybe he's okay. Hey, buddy.
Here he is, my lady.
How's your brain?
Gabu, it's been too long.
I'm afraid there's been no change. If he can see or hear us, he has given no sign.
I see. You're still fighting. I'm proud of you.
This is a weird little arc that Alice has.
We promised that we would come and visit you together, didn't we? Alphino and I. I'm sorry that we haven't managed that yet. You know, with the three of us like this, does it not remind you of that night? Of the stars beyond count twinkling in the heavens?
I mean, vaguely. Other than if we're in a different place and it's daytime, sure.
I was feeling pretty low back then. Powerless. But I knew that my brother was close by if I needed him, and that the others would be waiting for me back at the Rising Stones.
I'm actually just desperately trying to remember when this happened. I think it was pre-Stormblood. I think it was in the post-Heavenswood missions, I think.
Not like now.
Maybe it was early Stormblood, I don't know.
I've seen my share of trouble since coming to Eorzea. Been reminded again and again of my limitations. of how little I can change about this world. And I've come to know the sorrow of parting all too well. But to have the people I hold dear struck down before my eyes, and be powerless to help them, that I cannot bear.
Who's the little gremlin? So, he is a... Oh, God, I can't remember what his race is called. He's one of the beast tribes, and he... Or they've renamed them now to beast people, or whatever. His parents were indoctrinated by a primal, and he tried to get us to save him. But in trying to save his parents, he got indoctrinated, and so he killed the Pyro. Kobold. Thank you, Thamon. Salutations to you as well. Yes, he's a kobold. His parents got indoctrinated, and so in trying to save them from the primal, he got indoctrinated himself and basically lost his mind. So, Alice has had him looked after and is hoping that he will one day get his sanity back. But there is currently no known cure for being indoctrinated by a primal, so it's very much it's very much wishful thinking. You still have me! Let's word this nicer. You don't have to bear this burden alone. Or it would be awful if I said you still have me, and then suddenly I got struck down by...
I don't. You're right.
The voice as well.
It's pure arrogance to imagine I can solve everything by myself. You'd think I'd have learned that by now. Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you.
That's right. Just leave it to your cool uncle.
Well, that's more than enough brooding for one day. Come on. We have friends to save.
Unlike Gabu, who is not our friend. We'll fix him one day. Probably. Let's return to the Rising Stones and take it from there. Thanks again for agreeing to come. It meant a lot to me. It's alright. Limpsa's the one place I can travel to for free. So... I'm quite happy to travel there. But yeah, I really... Should we... Hey, thanks for the follow, Thamon. Much appreciated. Glad you like what you see. Should we... Again, should we not summon, like, make sure that Tataru and the other Scions are okay? I feel like we've just glossed over the fact. It's Cryos lying in the, in Euphoria. Just... unconscious and being ignored. And it's like... We should at least go and, like, recover her body. I like the energy. Well, much appreciated. I try and keep this energy up, but I am... no guarantees. For the time being, though, I have Rockstar energy drink flowing through my veins. I did some thinking on the way back, and I think Haori is right. We need to seek outside help. Ordinarily, we would turn to our own experts on such matters, but they are both among the stricken. I will begin by reaching out to the myriad guilds and research institutions here in Eorzea. Additionally, Grandfather and Minfilia had a wealth of connections between them. I mean, they're both dead, and I mean to explore those avenues too. We'll find a way to save everyone, mark my words. Much and more has happened in recent days, some of it for the good, some of it not so. But all around me, people continue their fight. From the shinobi who search for Alphino, to the Alliance members who make ready to move against the Empire. They march on in the face of great adversity, bearing heavy burdens. Everyone is playing their part, and so must I. You have your own part to play, I know, and it's bigger than most, so I won't keep you. Just promise that you'll visit from time to time, and I promise I'll have good tidings to share with you when you do. Da, 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 da. Meanwhile... I love that it always plays this villainous music every time we see the Empire. It's like, I get it! They're the bad guys!
The Populares no longer present an obstacle. Now is the time to bring the Empire's might to bear. A word from your Radiance is all it takes. But one word, and the Imperial army will fall upon Alamigo as a pack of bloodthirsty wolves and tear that feeble nation apart. Have you no words for me? Despite the lengths I go to, an emissary playing the part of a fool.
At least his neck seems to have healed.
When first I took this face, I swore to use all of my knowledge, all of my power, to further the cause of the Empire. My deeds stand testament to my commitment. And with this adamant flesh at my disposal, I could destroy the Icon Slayer as easily as one might swat a fly. Why do you hesitate?
Are you telling me the Emperor's getting second thoughts about letting his zombie son...
Our enemy is resourceful. Though victory
being
is
puppeted by an
certain now,
immortal ancient god
it will
people.
not remain so indefinitely. Deliberate if you must, but be quick about it. We'll speak again when you have unburdened yourself of doubt. Until then, I take my leave, Father.
Haha, no. Meanwhile, yeah, we just sent the little snippets of everyone doing everything, just constantly cuts to different places going, meanwhile. The two guards are like, Steve, what did he mean by taking on this face? Shut up. Shut up. We'll get us in trouble.
I should be the one to sigh.
Salutations, Stratus. It's a new face.
I played my part to perfection. I had earned my rest, and then, thanks to La Habrea's crowning act of idiocy, our favorite emissary sees fit to summon me back. Elidibus was
Oh, it's this guy!
Warrior. A most tiresome trait, would you not agree?
I got your minion during the Rising event that just happened. I don't know who you are, but I have your yeah, little dude. And I've seen people be thirsty for you on Twitter.
What? Have you no words for me either? No matter. I've long grown weary of this mummery.
Oh, I like his exaggerated expressions. He's great.
Now, my dearest grandson, let me remind you of your place in the simplest of terms. You do not make judgments, you administer them. Swiftly and to the letter. Naught else is your concern.
Again, the guards are like, Steve, did he just say he was his grandfather? Shh! You'll get us in trouble! Just keep...
Elidibus may be an insufferable bore, but he is no fool. His choices as emissary seldom err. If aught threatens the balance twixt light and dark, it falls to you to remove it.
He looks emo, but he doesn't. He's not. He's not.
Be it by your own hands or by your armies, you have ample means at your disposal. That is why this empire exists, why I built it.
Oh, he's the founder. Solus Zos Galvus. I knew his name was Solus because that's what his minions called.
Have I touched a nerve? You always were an easy one to read.
He looks good, though, for a man of his age.
I pity you, I do. As they say, ignorance is bliss. And I know how much happier you would be not knowing the things you know.
How have I never noticed the Emperor's eye scar until now? How is this the first I've seen his face? I think when I look at the Emperor, I'm drawn to two things: his tiny hat and his jowls. And I never look at his eyes. I honestly didn't even notice his eyes were yellow. Really, it's just the top and bottom of his head draws the eyes. I've never looked at the middle before. But look at his I mean, he's very jowly.
The founding father was an Ascian, and he created the Empire solely for the purpose of sowing the seeds of chaos.
Like a bulldog of a man. Anyway, plot. The Ascians created the Empire. Okay, that's cool. And they apparently did it just for shits and giggles.
Personally, I merely do my duty.
They went, Lamau, watch this. They're going to make an empire. Why? For the lols.
To bring about a calamity requires no small amount of power. And there is no surer way to obtain such power than by collecting powerful pawns.
I don't know, that's a lot of guy liner. You can wear guy liner and be non-emo. You can just be fancy.
To that end, I have labored long and hard, and I must say I am quite pleased with my handiwork, paltry though it seems in comparison to Alag.
You fiends are overfond of your own voices.
Steve, he just shot his granddad! Shut up!
Mark me, Ascian. Man is the master of his own destiny.
I know this scene's supposed to be serious, or maybe it's not, but just the sight of the Emperor with that gun just made me laugh so hard.
Such a waste of time and energy. Both yours and mine.
Oh, I know, when you run out of live forever, you run out of fun things to do. Yeah, I mean, fair enough, you know, if I was immortal, I'd probably start a few empires. You know, just maybe a republic or two, just to see what happens. Can't believe Solus is dead now. I know, considering how popular he is, I'm surprised, you know, he wasn't in it for very long.
Lest you forget, you are Emperor now. If you wish to spout drivel about man's destiny, save it for the masses. It will serve to give them a sense of purpose, and you, pliant pieces for the game.
I like that the dead body is still there, though. Like, it's not like it despawns. Can we just create, like, a pile of Soluses? Have I done the Stormblood Alliance raid? I have not. I don't really do the raid content other than when it makes me. Is it vital? I know the Alexander raid wasn't very important, so I skipped it. I probably will go back to it eventually because I need to get the triple triad cards, but that are related to it. But does the Stormblood Alliance raid provide more context for this?
Oh, do stop sulking, boy. You, of all people, should understand. Ours is a struggle to restore both mankind and the world to their rightful state. Viewed thus, our goals are one and the same.
Alexander is quite interesting for lore reasons. Fair enough. I will do them eventually, as I said, because one of my goals is to get every triple triad card, and there's basically every raid I know has like a mission attached to it that unlocks. Meanwhile, that unlocks a triple triad NPC. So I do need to do them eventually. But yeah, I just haven't done them yet. I was expecting, honestly, at some point during Heavensward, or during post-Heavensward, for someone to mention Alexander, and no one did at any point. You really have to go out of your way to find him. There was a big cutscene introducing him, and then just no one ever said anything in the main scenario quest. What in the world? Oh. Wait, weren't there more of us? What happened to Maxima? Dead. All dead. Yet I see no wounds, nor any evidence of battle. Maybe someone should tell me there's a drawing pin in his void. They all do. It's hereditary, I think. Stormblood's raid is optional, but I really like it. Oh, okay. I should do them. I mean, like, it's, you know, it's all content. It's just, unless they make me do it, I'm just focusing on the main scenario quests, and then if I have time, I guess I'll probably go back to them and do them if I run out of main scenario quests before whatever comes after Endwalker. Depends how long it takes me to catch up, I guess. Ivilis simply states that Solus was a theatre nut. I could have guessed that, honestly, without being told. He absolutely has theatre kid energy. Damn them. They finally used it. The Empire developed an alchemical weapon in Gir Albania. A gas, Black Rose it was called. And to breathe it is to breathe your last. And that did this. I thought the project abandoned and its vile fruit destroyed, but naught else could have wrought such an atrocity. I liked that one. Fools. What do they hope to gain with this butchery? Can they not see that a rule run through the terror will not endure? How many more provinces must they lose? It's based on Final Fantasy Tactics, which is my first ever game. Oh yeah, Ivilis, yeah. I do know. That's the world of Final Fantasy Tactics, isn't it? I know it from Vagrant Story. Yes, also set in Ivilis. Now there's a game. Nay, wait. This is not the work of men, but monsters. The Asians. It cannot be a coincidence that their trail led us here. Their objective was never to rule, but to sow strife and discord. Such a crime does indeed bear the mark of the bringers of chaos. Black Rose cannot be allowed to kill again. We must find the Asians and put an end to their plot. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's good to have an objective, but we do still need to have a plan. But seriously though, where's Maxima? I liked him. I didn't see him among the corpses. There we go. Oh, A History of Violet. I get that pun. Cool. Alright, so we're now on to... A Requiem for Heroes. Part 1. Which is exciting. Well, let's go and look at a ball. Is that I guess it's a crystal ball. It looked like it was like one of those yoga balls.
I'm glad you've come, though I'm afraid there's little in the way of good news. After you left, we reached out to both the Alchemists Guild and Stillglade Fane and attempted all manner of treatments.
I know one of those things. Who is Stillglade Fane? Is that a guy?
But the results were always the same. Whatever the answer is, it's not alchemy or conjuring. Why did it have to be Y'shtola and Urianger and not me? Out of all of us, they are the ones who could feasibly have solved this puzzle.
That makes sense that they're the ones that they took out first then, if they didn't want the puzzle to be solved. She's really struggling to balance. Need to walk my dog. No worries, Stratus. Say hi to your puppa for me.
And Elfino's still missing. God, it's all going wrong. Where do we even start?
A grave situation indeed. Might I be of some assistance?
I think that's Kryol. It is Kryol. Hey, you're not dead. Excellent.
Kryol, I thought you were busy delving into the mysteries of Eureka.
Again, I don't understand why we didn't think to check on her and Tartary. They're all scions.
When word reached me of the plight of our friends, I could not well stay away. As a fellow scion, not to mention your erstwhile mentor, this is one of those times you should feel free to call on me, regardless of my personal circumstances.
I was going to say, yeah, that took it. Thanks for resubscribing, Dizzy. Dizzy, AB. Just reading the name on the thing. Yeah, that took its time to kick in. You had your rose for like 45 minutes now. But, oh, that was the White Mage Guild. Okay. If you look at Gridania's map, you'll see it. Oh, that explains why I don't know what it is then, because, yeah, Gridania. I know, I know the amphitheater in Gridania, that's about it.
Yes, I should have thought of that. Thank you for coming, Kryol. We would welcome your insight.
And I should be happy to provide it. Now, what's this I hear about Alphino heading into Imperial territory? That boy always did have some funny ideas. Do you remember the speech he gave when he was accepted to the Studium?
My life's goal is naught less than the salvation of this star.
Yeah, what a silly dream. Everyone knows that's impossible.
That has been a source of great embarrassment to him, as you know. But the fact of the matter is, he meant every word and has lived his life accordingly.
Yes, he remains altruistic to a fault. But I'm worried he was too fixated on his goals to see the dangers, as has happened before.
You needn't be so concerned. Though his values remain the same, Alphino is not the blinkered boy he once was. Slowly but surely his eyes have been opened, thanks to a certain someone. A certain someone whom he'd be mortified to learn had heard about his little speech. Mum's the word, eh?
Oh, you are talking about me. Okay, good. Ha. Yes, I am great. And also, I'm mostly mute, so that's fine.
Right, I'd better have a look at our patients. They're in the infirmary, I assume. I'll need absolute quiet, so it would be best if I did this alone. If you'll excuse me.
Like an awkward family dinner. It's like, so, how's school?
All three are in fine physical health. A
At a glance, I would say they were merely sound asleep. Except for the fact that I couldn't sense the slightest trace of them in their bodies. It's as if their souls have taken leave of their physical forms.
Ah, yes. The Elder Seedseer made a similar observation.
I've read the report. When you heard this mysterious voice, you described feeling as if you were somewhere else, yes? If we assume the ether which comprises your essence is being drawn to some other place, then it may be possible to follow the trail it leaves behind, just as we did in our search for Thancred.
I wasn't around for that, but I can't imagine it was easy.
I'm trying to remember what we did to get. We have to find relatives for Urianger, Thancred, and Yashtala. Well, Yashtala's fine. I think her mum's still around somewhere.
Oh, it wasn't. But that's no reason not to try. I will have need of Master Matoya's crystal eye if I'm even to make the attempt. So I suggest we pay her a visit.
Oh, and her sister. I forget that she has a sister. I don't know about Thancred and Urianger though. Let's get all their family though, and pull them back out of the live stream. I imagine Canny Senna's going to get annoyed, though, at us constantly asking her for to just come out and save members of the Scions. We're going to go see Matoya. She's going to get sick of us as well. Because we only ever come and see her when we want something. Also, for the amount of times they make me go and see Matoya, I wish they would give me a friggin' Etherite to her cave. It's just far enough away to be annoying. At least I can fly. Da, 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 da. Oh, and I forgot. I'd been looking forward to it and then just completely slipped my mind. I can now do the Monster Hunter trial and get the Bahamut mount. Not the Bahamut mount, the... not Radagon. Rathalos mount. And I can get a Porgy and a Trash Cat as one of my minions. Ah. So that'll be something to do once we've done Hildebrand, I think. Depending on how long it takes, I guess. Wait. Someone here wants to play me Triple Triad. Oh, he's got 4 cards. All right, settle in. We're playing some Triple Triad. Hells yeah. What rules are we using? Plus and reverse. Low numbers flip higher numbers. In which case, I want to play my high card. Ah, draw. It's gonna be an awkward one to win, I think. John hates porgies. Who could hate a porgy? They're an adorable little pig thing in a. Actually, this one's better. They're an adorable pig thing in a stripy shirt. Oh, did the rule? Oh, damn it! Is it chaos rules? Dang it! I should have checked. The sudden death again. John, well, okay, yeah. I mean, you did say that, but. This is my fault for not checking. Oh, why did I play a 9 against a 9? Oh, I'm not going to win this one. What the hell are you? Caliber... Oh. Yeah. Okay, so then, but... God damn it. This is an annoying one. Okay, and Dissension. It's the trash cats too. Well, that's understandable. I'm not a big fan of the cats. Although they have grown on me the more I played of Monster Hunter, but I still don't like them very much. Stormblood, Alphino, and Alisei. Do I have that card? Maybe I get that from here. Oh, man, this is not good. Man, I could win when it was Dissension, but now that it's... Chaos. Okay, well, Chaos does make things a bit easier. That was a mistake. No, it wasn't! As intended! Ha! Alright. I will come back to Merorogo. As much as I do want to play, as much as I do love Triple Triad, 4 cards is a bit much. To do on stream, because I know that 4th card is going to have like a 1% drop rate, and it's going to take me like 45 minutes, so I shall come back. Speak with Alisei in front of Matoya's cave. Sorry, Matoya, I entered your cave prematurely. I'll be back in a second. Ignore me. It's a frog. I didn't realize I was playing against a wizard frog. I had heard Master Matoya was something of a recluse, but this seems extreme. Still, I'll happily overlook her eccentricities if he agrees to help us. Oh, and I forgot Alisei hasn't been out to see her before. I forgot it was Alphino that was with us at the time. Yeah, because Alisei was basically absent for the entirety of Heavenswood. Oh, you've come back again. What was that about a second ago?
Come to disturb my peace again, have you? I hide myself away in a cave, and still you people insist on pestering me with your problems. Oh, I mistook you for young what's-his-name, but I see now you're the sister. Weren't you supposed to be the lively one? I've seen happier faces at a rain-sodden burial.
Well, I'm sorry to dash your expectations, but the situation isn't exactly conducive to gaiety.
Ha! That's more like it. Stoller used to spit and hiss like a wildcat too. Better for a young thing like you to be filled with fire and leave the doom and gloom to your elders. Now, what exactly does this tragic situation of yours have to do with me?
Yeah, your... What was your Stoller's relationship? I guess your student has kind of lost her soul.
If I may, Master Matoya, we have need of your crystal eye once more.
I feel like Matoya kind of takes the same role as the Roshi's sister in Dragon Ball. And it's just like, she's not important to the story, and except when we need to use her crystal ball.
One of the afflicted, is she?
We just like, hey, we need to find someone. Can we use your ball? It's like, thanks. Now disappear from the plot again.
Very well. She may be an ungrateful stray, but she's my ungrateful stray, and I'll not see her buried before I am.
We are very careless with Y'shtola. This is the second time we've lost her. We need to put a bell on her. Really.
Right. Let us see what we can see. I'll begin from where our friends first fell, and cast my senses out from there.
What is it? Did you find them?
Wow, that looks like a positive face.
This doesn't make sense. How is it even possible?
How is what possible? Kryl, what did you see?
The threads, they just ended. And no, I didn't lose track of them. I followed them as far as they went. It's as if they were cut off.
Could the ether have dissipated if it had? Oh gods! Their bodies are just husks. It's like the broodmother's daughter all over again.
Oh. Should we summon our primal then?
No, this is different. The Kalyana girl was already dead, body and soul, when Lakshmi affected her resurrection.
Aye, let's not jump to conclusions. If their physical forms yet breathe and show no signs of wasting, then it follows that their souls must still be intact somewhere.
But where?
That's the question, isn't it, girl? Death has not taken them to the ethereal sea, yet there are no tracks left for us to follow.
Are they not at risk of being taken over by Ascians? Because the Ascians kind of possess just whoever they want, really. But I feel like if you've got 3 scions just sat there, unsold, you just fill them in and be like, hey, we got better. And they're like, oh, okay. And it's like, ha 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 ha, we're Ascians. That's what I would do. I'd be Y'shtola.
We're no closer to an answer than when we started. But knowing their souls are still out there is progress of a sort. We just have to keep looking. Pray, excuse me a moment. Yes? I remember, but... What, to Alamigo? We're on our way. That was Lise. Apparently, a group of Populares have defected to Alamigo, and Maxima, the envoy Alphino left with, is one of them.
Oh, that's Maxima. Okay. That's just like my earlier question.
I realize we've barely begun here, but...
Go, child, go! You've made up your mind, and life's too short for dithering.
I'll do some digging in the meantime and see if there isn't some other method we could use to continue the search.
Let's be off then.
Oh, not again. The enchantment barely seems to take these days. I chalk it up to old age, but I rather doubt it's that simple.
Oh, is the aether thinning out here as well?
Before they took ill, Y'shtola and Urianger were sharing notes on a thinning of the ether. It seems to be happening all over.
Does it now? And here I was, all set to blame my woes on that creaking mountain of refuse clogging up the Thaliac. I fear something has gone awry. Still, there's naught to be gained from starting in shadows. You can only do what can be done, and that but one thing at a time.
Salutations, Briar. Why is no one ever named Bob? I know. It's such a hassle remembering everyone's names. There are so many characters as well. They constantly refer to people and I'm like, yeah, that guy. Fortunately, they make cards for most characters, so I can remember them that way. Yeah, all's well. All's well with me. I hope all's fine and dandy with you. So, that was the woman who tamed your Stoller. I had the distinct feeling of being grabbed by the scruff of the neck and having the nonsense shaking out of me. When Alphino is back, I'd like to visit again and ask her what tale she has of grandfather. Yeah, Matoya's cool. Like an angry old woman. What's not to like? I almost can't bear to hear what Maxima has to tell us. But it can't be bad news, can it? I mean, it can't be great news if they've defected. I mean, we were kind of hoping on the Popularis to sow discontent in the Empire. That doesn't help. Doesn't work if they're not there. Lise would have said it, unless there's no point speculating. Lise said she had notified the guards of our coming, so we should head straight to the palace gate at the Alamegan Quarter. I'll be praying for good news. Learn what you can about Alphino's plight, and leave the search to our friends' lost souls for me. Oh, that's Cryo. Whatever. So I'm gonna can you use that? Try the ball again. Just keep phoning until I find their souls. Alright, oh no, I don't need my mount. Let's. It's a good job I got cash today. They're making me travel all over the place. Oh, good, you're good. That's good. Wants to talk about your car's extended warranty. I do have a car, so. And I have wondered. I do crash it quite a lot. I'm quite a clumsy driver, as things go. Sassy old woman, exactly. What's not to love about Matoya? She's a sassy old Cade lady, and she doesn't complain about the fact that, like I say, we only ever go to her when we want something, and every time she's willing to help us. Right. Let's see what Maxima has to say. I know, I've seen you drive through Liberty City. Exactly. And Liberty City doesn't have, like, monsters. I mean, like actual monsters.
I'm sorry to drag you halfway across the realm, but when Maxima mentioned Alphino, I thought you'd want to hear the news in person.
Ah, we meet again. Though I was hoping our reunion would be under more auspicious circumstances.
What happened to my brother? Where is Alphino?
Never fear, my lady. Your brother was in fine health when I took my leave of him, and I have no reason to assume that has changed.
Yeah, he definitely hasn't encountered some horrible biological weapon invented by the Empire. No, that can't possibly have happened.
You assume?
If you will allow me, I shall endeavor to explain events. Our troubles began not long after we departed Doma. While crossing the burn, we were fired upon by the Emperor's personal guard and forced to make an emergency landing. As we stumbled from the wreckage, our attackers fell upon us again, and we would have perished there and then were it not for the intercession of a third party, a band of mercenaries whose leader claimed to pursue a vendetta against the Ascians. This Shadow Hunter, as he styled himself, then escorted us out of the wastes to relative safety.
It is such a dumb... that dumb name. No magic? Well, I'm a mage. I'm a red mage. Okay. Well, I'll allow it, but only because I haven't done any combat for the hour and a half that we've been playing, so there may not be an opportunity for. I do have a sword, so I can make do. Oh, hang on, that's not centered. That's not centered. 7. Hang on, we gotta make sure it's centered. I don't know why it doesn't do this automatically. There's probably a setting I can do to make it. There we go. Just snap into the middle or something. Bop them with your stick. I have a sword, it's fine. It's not very strong if I don't use my magic with it, but I'll make do.
Upon arriving back in civilization, I gathered my Populares colleagues and prepared to flee the Empire. Master Alphino, however, declined the invitation to join us, preferring to continue his investigation into the Ascian threat.
Well, at least he's not lying in a heap in the burn.
Well, you don't know that. He's gone adventuring
Tell
with
us more about these Ascian hunters. Who are they? And is Alphino still with them?
He's gone adventuring with a strange man, which, to be fair, is what he did with me, and everything turned out okay, so maybe it'll be fine.
He is. As to who they are, I'm afraid I have nothing to tell you. Beyond the fact that they root out and destroy Ascians, they were unwilling to divulge anything which might serve to identify them. They would not even reveal their next destination. But Master Alphino asked to accompany them all the same. Since parting company with your brother, we've been engaged in a game of cat and mouse with the Emperor's Guard. We made our way through province after province, finding the army busy restoring order wherever we went, until we finally arrived here in Alamigo. I cannot thank Commander Aldin enough for giving us such an unexpectedly warm welcome.
I'm not inclined to turn away refugees, no matter which land they call home. And if they can tell me how things lie in Garlemald, all the better.
On that subject, there is much I would tell you. During the course of our journey, we heard tales that an entire rebel army had been slaughtered in the space of a single night. It would seem my former comrades grew tired of putting down uprisings in the conventional manner, and chose instead to bring a formidable new weapon to bear. Details were sparse, but the rumor alone was enough to dampen the flames of rebellion.
It is interesting to me that it's like, the Empire have got literal giant robots, and then they just sort of went, do you know what, chemical weapons would be way easier. Like, I mean, robots are cool and all, but this is way cheaper and way more effective.
I have also heard reports that several companies have withdrawn from their designated provinces and begun marching westward. It is my assessment that the Empire's forces are mobilizing for a large-scale military engagement.
I just now noticed you made you. I love it. Yeah, that's my boy Dandy, the warrior of light. I am uninventive, unfortunately. So most of my created characters end up looking somewhat like me. Why not build a literal magic nuke? You live in a world where that's absolutely possible. I mean, that did technically happen, but we broke it. They basically built. Well, they basically. I don't think they built it. I think they resurrected a Metal Gear, essentially, that could fire a tactical nuke. And they did, but we blocked it and then beat them up and broke their robot. So, but yeah, they like their robots. But I'm just saying, chemical weapons are war crimes. Robots aren't war crimes. There's a reason chemical weapons are considered a war crime, because they're really good at killing people. So it's weird that they're so late to the draw. They've really gone in the reverse order. Next, they're going to be attacking people with bayonets. Actually, no, we do that anyway, I think. One of the developers played Xenogears. I think one of the developers may have made Xenogears. It's the same company.
Westward? You mean they're getting ready to invade Alamigo?
There's also a reason why no nukes. Oh, is there like an in-law reason they can't do like an actual nuke?
We knew this was coming, but not that it would be so soon.
We've barely even begun to shore up our defenses. They won't stop an invading army.
No, they won't. Dispatch messengers to the Alliance leadership requesting reinforcements, and send word to our officers in the field to hasten completion of those border fortifications. Prepare to meet the Imperials head-on!
Ah. Ascians are trying to achieve a specific goal. Nukes wouldn't quite work. Some instances it would work, but not all. Fair enough. So they don't want to, like, poison the land, so to speak. They just want to get rid of people.
No matter how quickly we act, we still want for time. When the enemy comes into view, our best recourse will be to open negotiations with their commander, and see that the ensuing proceedings take as long as possible.
I'm assuming the thinning of ether is part of their plan as well.
Would you and Alize head to Doma and let Lord Hien know about this? I'm sure he'll want to hear about Alphino too.
I feel set the situation where indiscriminate destruction isn't the solution. I mean, it's my approach. When everything goes wrong, they send the Warrior of Light in, and then it's just like, go and destroy the thing. It's really the best thing you're good for, and we always try and talk things out or solve the situation before it develops. It never works, and I always have to go in and kill everything.
Consider it done. We'll send word when...
Are we getting echoed? Ah, we are. I know that hyphen.
Sorrow must be changed. Ahead looms a calamity. Beyond become instant. Throw wide the gates.
Again, you really need to make the message clearer.
You heard it too.
You've messaged me 3 times now, and I don't know what you want. The only thing I get is that you want me to change the future, but you're being so vague. And so, like, stop using... Just say what you want me to do. This isn't Elden Ring.
Well, at least we're both still standing.
Stop reciting poetry at me. I want ice cream. Send the Warrior of Light to commit mass murder. Honestly, yeah. It's just... I mean, I think I had to kill some monsters to get some guy some balding lotion at some point. I think I did that off stream. It was one of the side quests I was doing for Triple Triad. It's like sometimes they do just send me to go and kill things for just groceries. I wanted shampoo.
Oh, thank the gods. I thought we'd lost you for a moment there. Why does this keep happening?
Just trying to reach you at your car's extended warranty. Brian made the exact same joke while you were walking your dog. Good that the two of you are on the same wavelength.
I wish I knew. Nothing we've tried has brought us any closer to an answer. We'll keep working on it. But first, we need to go and see Lord Hien.
We really need to get Hien a phone. We can't keep going to Kogane every time we need to talk to him. It's really far away. Like, imagine if every time I needed to have a chat with someone, I had to fly to Japan. It's like, we've got email, or maybe we don't have email, but we've got mobile phones. So, Alphino's safe, for the present at least. Now we need to worry about is a full-scale Imperial invasion. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I'm actually glad Lise tasked us with the visiting Lord Hien. Better to be dashing from place to place than sitting around stewing over things we can't change. To the Enclave! It's like Batman and Robin, just expecting the Warrior of Light symbol to go da-na-na-na-na-na. Alright, back to Kogane again. I mean, it's alright for me, I can teleport with money. But, you know, I can get an Uber. But I don't know that Alice can. I think she has to take the boat each time. You need to talk to your neighbour, by the way. He's in Italy. Yeah, it's just like, can I have a number? And it's like, no, here's his address. It's like, oh, you want me to mail him? No, I need an answer now. Flights are only like an hour to Italy from the UK. It won't take you very long. Oh, hey, guys. Sorry to interrupt your party, Hien. Kapow. Very, very suitable emote. Greetings, my friends. I was just discussing future endeavors with the members of our newly formed alliance. The Kojin and the Confederacy you already know, and it was your own strength of arms that won us the corporation of the Steppe Tribes. We have also been joined by our neighbors from Naxia and the indomitable citizens of Dalmasca, though the scattered nature of the latter's resistance will somewhat delay their official induction. What are the wolf people? Does Hakuro have no... I don't know, muscle? Does he have no, like, sway over them? These proud people have been granted These proud people have united under a single purpose, to stand against the tyranny of the Garlean Empire. The Wolf Boys are part of Doma. Oh, okay. I thought maybe they had, I know there are Wolf Boys in Doma, but I thought maybe they had, like, their own country somewhere, or like the snaky ladies. The Amanta, I figured they had their own little, like, camp somewhere, but fair enough. I am glad to see your alliance is coming together so swiftly. As things stand, I feel we shall soon have need of your strength. Also, hi, Yugiri. I thank you for bringing me news of Alphino. His fate is never far from my thoughts. And not only because he is our emissary. As for this sudden deployment of Imperial forces, I agree that Alamigo would be wise to shore up its borders with all haste. Every report we receive from our shinobi indicates a massing of troops in the western provinces. It seems all but certain that the Empire is poised to bring its fist down upon Eorzea. And I would help deflect that blow, but I cannot risk sending reinforcements just yet. We remain vulnerable to airborne assault until our wall and the burn is in place. The all-important Allagan energy barrier. Thank you for reminding me. It's been a few minutes. The energy barrier, yes. I thought I called it something more auspicious. A name drawn from the four lords of legend, perhaps. Seiru's Aegis or some such. Well, just a thought. I'm beginning to understand how things in Eorzea get named such ridiculous names now. It's just like, should we just call it the energy barrier? And it's like, no, I've got a name for it. I suppose in real life things are like that as well, actually, thinking about it. The Ironworks engineers report that they have finished calibrating the generators and are ready to proceed to the testing stage. Have you time to attend the first test? You've seen the field which protected Aziz's La firsthand, and I'm interested to hear how you think ours compares. Didn't we bypass the field in Aziz's La? Would you surely want something better? I will come to if you don't mind. Though I am no Y'shtola, I may be able to offer some insight. Alice just bops it with her rapier and goes, yes, this seems pretty sturdy. Kicks it. Like when you kick a tire on a car, it's like, yeah, no, this looks good. This is good. Of course. Time being of the essence, it'd be best to be made directly for the burn. Yugiri, I leave you and Hakuro to bring the War Council to a close. Understood. Your mounts are saddled and ready, my lord. Wear the storms. Ooh, I can get some food. I can get a Lauman. And I'm going to take the silver, because I need that for something. Don't think so. We don't really know much about them, if I recall. I think they're kind of a rare I think they're kind of a rare kind. I don't think there's a whole country of them. I'm sure they're present in other countries, but not as the majority of that country's population. Oh, okay. So they're kind of like how, like Hyurs. I was trying to remember what the fake name for humans was. Like how Hyurs and Elysians and etc., are all spread about in different nations. You just get wolfmen in places. Hey, Hakuro, we've been talking about you. If we can but block the Guardians' airships, the speed with which they deploy their forces will be greatly diminished. Okay, that wasn't worth talking to you. Cake. Why did you name the wall Cake? Because it's thick and it saves lives. That's a good enough name for... It's a good enough reason to call it... To call it... Yeah. I mean, that's a better reason than some others. Normally they just name it after someone like Hadrian. Trying to think of another wall that's named after a person. I can only think of Hadrian's. There's probably like a Steve's wall out there somewhere. Probably belongs to a guy who just along the house of a guy named Steve. It's less impressive than Hadrian's wall. Anyway, I'm getting off track. The Great Wall of Doma. Yeah, that would work. Or the Great Doman Barrier. Or the Barrier Reef. I mean, it's not really a reef, it's a desert. But it is a barrier. Anyway. Whatever he wanted to call it was fine. Ryu's Aegis or whatever. Shinryu's Aegis. I also got Shinryu as a minion, which is cute. We will cross the burn by Yol. I forget what the birds are called. We will cross the burn by Yol and Falcon. And maybe this is just me, and it's just where mind is, but every time I see Yol, I always think of Yowie. I don't know why, it's just the sort of combination of vowels. And it always I have to pause slightly to make sure that I'm reading it correctly. We will cross the burn by Yol and Falcon. As before, join me on the overlook near the House of the Fierce. Guess we'll just wait for the quest start music to finish playing and we'll be off. There we go. Where does it want me to go? Over here. Whoop. Hang on, do I want to go up and over, or do I want to go... Yes, I do want to go up and over. I always forget which exit I need to leave out of. What's this? Oh, it's the burn. Hey, Stratus. Give the word when you are ready to take wing. I assume this is just a cutscene. We're not actually gonna have to. Yeah, because it didn't sync my level, so this will just be a cutscene. I was gonna say, Briar, your ban has run out because it was 18 minutes ago. But because I haven't had any combat. I mean, I haven't had any combat to all of today. It's all been talking cutscenes.
Seems the engineers have matters well in hand.
I will keep the ban up until I get into at least one encounter, so that I can just use swords, just so you haven't completely wasted your petals.
Should the barrier work as we intend, Doma will be free to reinforce her allies in Alamigo without fear of weakening her own borders.
It's quite alright. It happens sometimes
Honored
with
friends, the time has come to put your hard work to the test. Start the generator.
Final Fantasy XIV is a difficult one because, like, you go so long without doing certain gameplay elements that it's so hard to ban something. Also, it's difficult to ban something without making the game completely unplayable. And so it's a tricky one. Remember, they got to work fast. Although I appreciate there were probably a few months between this quest and the end of the violet thingy.
Node 1 is operational. Nodes 2 to 8 are reporting similar energy levels. The barrier is forming.
Ooh.
1,000 yards. 2,000. 3,000. Expansion remains smooth. No fluctuations detected.
We now live in a beehive. I'll take it.
4,000. 4,000.
Everyone knows.
5,000.
Hexagon.
Target altitude reached.
Hexagons.
The barrier is holding steady at 5,000 yards. We've done it.
Stop interrupting me. Hexagons mean strength. What a strong-looking wall. I bet they'll never lower it ever again. Man, don't foreshadow things. I mean, I assume they'll have to lower it to go to Garlemald at some point. Although I guess we could just go from somewhere else, but...
Is that an Imperial airship? Of all the rotten timing.
Wait, no, this is a great way for us to test it. Let's just see it fly into it.
This is a gift, Mistress Alize. They can test our new wall for us.
Hello, we've come seeking peace. And just get zapped like a fly.
Seems solid enough, though I was hoping for a fireball.
Can we... Does it block sound? Can we, like, stand either side of the barrier and talk to the people on the other side? Oh, it's Shadowhunter. Oh, and he's killed Alphano. Oh, he just had a big...
It's Alphano.
He just had a really big day. He's all tuckered out, bless him. Oh, he was running up and down, killing Asians. And he just wore himself out. He'll be fine now. He just needs a bed.
What are you... Let me go! He has my brother!
Yeah, there's a... Do you remember the
Lower
flies...
the barrier.
Okay. All right. Well, that foreshadowing wasn't wasn't far in the future. I see. It was just immediately like, all right, turn it off again. Hopefully, turning it on and off like that doesn't have any major negative consequences.
Be at ease, girl. The lad is not dead, merely locked in slumber.
Oh, please let them trouble. Hail. What hail? He can't hear you. Unless I'm typing her brother's dead. Excellent. Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's probably fine. He's probably... yeah, he's probably had the same thing happen to him that the others have. But, you ever figure out Shadowhunter's identity? I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I'm waiting for them to kind of come to the realization. I'm hoping now that he meets up with the Warrior of Light, that he will be the one who goes, I know you. Don't foreshadow something DLC, sorry. I definitely don't have screenshots of foreshadowing I did when you first started FF14. I'll be looking forward to seeing those screenshots as and when they happen, because I do remember you saying very early on that you were like, man, it's been a while since I've played this, and I forgot that they foreshadowed this early on. So I was like, oh, cool. Because I've heard that Endwalker covers a lot of stuff that like started in A Realm Reborn, because there's that whole discussion about skipping A Realm Reborn because it's boring. And then people are like, no, if you skip A Realm Reborn, there's like 5 bosses in Endwalker that make no sense.
No, not him too.
Just imagining them talking. It cuts to the Warrior of Light and he's just scratching his chin going, I've got a...
We could identify no cause and found no remedy. Thus I sought to return him to Doma, and into the arms of Lord Hien himself, it would seem.
He's scratching his chin, just like, I've got the weirdest feeling of deja vu.
It is a day for fated reunions. Would you not agree, adventurer? Or should I address you as the Warrior of Light?
Yeah! It is Gaius van Balsia. I mentioned earlier that they had a Metal Gear that fired a nuke. This guy was its Liquid Snake.
Aye. Gaius van Balsar, the Black Wolf. That was the title I was given. One I have long since relinquished.
Shadowhunter Auron from FF10 called. He wants his gimmick back. I like Gaius, but he's not as cool as Auron. Don't make the reunion weird by calling Gaius Daddy.
Stand down. The legatus of the 14th Imperial Legion died in Castrum Meridianum. I am no more than Gaius Baelsar, a man without rank or allegiance.
Impossible. There's no way you could have survived.
And yet.
Do you remember how it unfolded?
Didn't you turn gold and explode?
How I was deceived by La Habrea? How I was convinced that reviving the Ultima weapon would allow me to bring peace to Eorzea?
That's his Metal Gear.
The Ascian used me, as he used so many others, all to further the restoration of his wretched god. Yet even with the might of Alec at my command, you bested me. And as the Praetorium went up in flames, I was content to burn along with it. For a moment, at least.
It's like, I'll burn for my sins. Ow, ow. Ooh, actually. Do you know what?
A moment of folly. To surrender my life thus would have been to betray all who died for my cause. It was for them that I dragged myself free of the rubble, and swore vengeance on the Ascians.
He does have a nice voice, I'll agree.
The Black Wolf has shed his pelt, never to return to Garlemald or her legions. I live now only to exact revenge. My principal quarry was to be La Habrea, whom I gather you have since ushered onto oblivion.
Did we? Did we beat La Habrea? I know there's that random Ascian who showed up who killed Moonbreeder, and we killed him. And then there were the two Ascians. Was La Habrea one of the Ascians that... Oh God, this is just, again, how terrible my memory is for the plot. Was La Habrea one of the two Ascians who fused at the end of Heavensward? I know we killed them. Because I think we killed them with the power of the eyes. I guess he must have been. That's the only other Ascian we've killed. I like his Metal Gear. I'm a whore for a good-looking robot, figuratively speaking. Same. I do like a good super robot. They call them weapons, but I mean, they are just basically giant mechs. They've currently got another one. They've got Omega at the moment that's spun a hole somewhere.
But so many more remain. Long as their kind lurked in the shadows, laboring to sow chaos throughout our world, I would see each and every one dragged into the light and put to the sword.
La Habrea took over the body of Mr. Playboy Ninja. Yeah, that was ages ago, though. We ousted him from Thancred, but we didn't beat him. Because there was the whole thing about the fact that the Ascians were immortal, so you had to, you had to, like, use a lightsaber on them. That was the whole thing with Moonbreeder. So we just killed him, but we've not actually destroyed his soul. Because I was going to say, I don't remember us actually killing La Habrea. Yeah. I thought it... But maybe he was one of the two that fused at the end of Heavensward. I thought it was two other guys, though. I can't keep track. So many characters. I like they kept the name weapon from... Yeah, from... They borrow a lot of terms and things from lots of different games across the franchise and sort of mush them all together. So they got like Triple Triad from FF8. He's got a Gunblade from FF8. They've got the Lifestream and weapons and materia from FF7. There's weirdly no Blitzball. I feel like Blitzball's like a massive oversight that they should have. He is dead. Man, I'm gonna have to look up La Habrea's Wikipedia article because I don't remember us. I thought we just beat him, and then he just went back to the Asian plane or whatever. I'm really like, hang on. Oh yeah, he was one of the two. La Habrea and Igeorm resorted to showing their ancient powers infused into Asian Prime. So yeah, so that was the Asian Prime was La Habrea and yeah, okay. So they fused together, we beat them, and then we destroyed them using the Nidhogg. And yes, and then La Habrea was killed by Thordan with the Heaven's Sword. Which isn't its name, but it's what I'm calling it. So. I'm okay with no Blitzball just because I was bad at it. Triple Triad, though, is always a good decision. Oh, yeah. Triple Triad's one of the 3 reasons I keep playing this game. But still, I feel like Blitzball's one of those mini-games that... Because they got Chocobo Racing from FF7. Well, I guess Chocobo Racing's in a lot of the games. And they've got... Actually, that's the only other... The other 2 mini-games are from just new. I'm trying to think if they've got any other mini-games for anything else. But it's just... I feel like Blitzball is like the mini-game that people talk about most other than Triple Triad. Other than maybe like Fort Condor, I guess? I don't know.
Are the Scions not of like mind?
In this single respect, perhaps.
Then I shall continue the partnership the boy began, and share what intelligence I have acquired. Among the Asians, the Black-Masked Ilk are subordinate to those who wear red. This you already know.
Yeah, Fort Condor was great. I like... have you seen the Fort Condor... the new version of Fort Condor in the FF7 remake? They've made it into a board game. It's great.
Yet among the red there exists a hierarchy. Those set adrift with the shards clearly stand below those still joined to the source. Nabriales, who once dared to intrude upon the Rising Stones, belonged to the former group, and while he was indeed a dangerous foe, his powers were inconsequential next to the paragons of the source.
I haven't played Remake yet. Well, it's something to look forward to. It's in the Yuffie like side story that she has set in the DLC that she has. It's great fun.
The first was La Habrea, who plagues us no more. There is also the white-robed Elidibus, and the elusive Emmet Selk, about whom little is known.
I think we've met all of these.
We have files on La Habrea and Elidibus, but I believe this Emmet Selk is new to us?
I'm sure I've seen Emmet Selk in a cutscene. I think he might be the
As I assume
Asian...
my brother told you, we have evidence to suggest that an Asian now walks in the body of the Crown Prince. Have you identified this interloper?
I was going to say, I feel like Emmet Selk might be the one inside of...
Elidibus seems the
Xenos.
most likely culprit.
Oh, never mind.
As emissary, it is his role to maintain the equilibrium between darkness and light. Your many deeds in Heidelin's name have upset the balance, and I believe he seeks to restore it by throwing his considerable power behind the Empire. As a leader of the Asians, he is one of our primary targets.
Emmet. Don't blush, because I said that he was inside of Xenos.
It was on the trail of this very prey that the boy and I came across the scene of a failed uprising. In the absence of a single Garlean casualty, we inspected the bodies of the rebels, and the lack of any external injury drew my immediate attention. They had been slain by Black Rose, an alchemical invention of the Imperial Army. When I yet served as legatus, I ordered its production halted, and all stockpiles destroyed. Toxic gas is not a tool of conquest, but of extermination.
Yeah, again, that's why there's war crimes for it and not for robots.
Toxic gas? This must be the new weapon Maxima warned us about. Something deadly enough to sweep away all resistance in a matter of hours. Gods. You don't think they're planning to use this in Alamigo, do you?
I was just sort of thinking, who's talking? And I realised I'm completely blocking Alice, other than her hands coming out of my ears.
Put your fears to rest. We infiltrated the production facility and destroyed all existing stores of the chemical along with the plant itself. Even should they rebuild the operation, they will not soon manufacture another batch.
Oh. Okay, I mean, that would be a cool thing to have done, but I guess, that's cool you did it off-screen.
Regardless, I would draw your attention to a directive we discovered in the plant's records. The document was marked with a recent date, and authorized with the signature of one Zeno Galvus.
A dead man signing the death warrant for thousands. 'Tis bad comedy.
But the tale does not end there. Within that same facility was a chamber filled with devices of elegant design. Cloning technology, we realized.
Short stack needs a step still. Let's just be glad that Kryl isn't with us.
And what should we find in each and every incubator? But a young Emperor Solus. All of which prompts the question, were the Ascians responsible for these abominations, or was it the will of the Emperor?
Stop being mean to Alice. She's had a tough day.
I must know which hand guides the Empire. Though I have given up my rank, I am yet a son of Garlemald, and I will fight for the future of my homeland.
So is Solus's thing that he can, move his soul from clone to clone, and then they just kind of prestige each time, and that's just what he just keeps cloning himself and moving his soul from each one, which is why the Emperor was just like, I'm just going to shoot you because I'm annoyed at you. He's like, thanks, I needed a new body.
It is time I return to the hunting of shadows. We should focus on our common foe. To reopen old quarrels now would serve no purpose.
You'd get on well with Estinian, Gaius. Both of you are just such as... I've returned to the hunting of shadows. That's why they call me Shadow Hunter. The Hunter of Shadows. Me. In the shadows. I get it. You want to be cool. You and Estinian should trade notes.
You saved my brother's life, so I'm willing to let sleeping dogs lie. But in truth, it's not my decision to make.
Yeah, there are more important matters at hand.
There was a time when I scorned those who placed their faith in false gods, even as I, in my blinkered conviction, place mine in Ascian promises. Unlike yours, my strength of will and my restraint was found wanting. We shall meet again, warrior of light.
In the shadows, I hunt the shadows, staying from the sun and the darkness where the shadows grow, because I hunt them as Shadow Hunter in the shadows. It's less impressive when he says it on a clear blue, like a clear day with blue skies everywhere. He's like, I'm not used to being out during the day. I normally hunt in the shadows. Have I mentioned that, by the way? I normally wait until it's dark. I'm like Batman. I sleep during the day. Can't outshadow Shadow the Hedgehog guy. That's finding himself a different edgy trope. I mean, he does have a gun, like Shadow. He just needs a motorbike. I feel if Gaius could get himself a motorbike, he'd be all the way there. Oh, and he'd get a side saddle for Estinian, and the two of them could ride around, hunting shadows together. I guess he has his
So
own...
that was the infamous Black Wolf. An unexpected ally, to say the least.
He's got his own little like little spaceship thing, I guess. I'm very uncomfortable in as much direct sunlight. Is there a dim ally nearby? Could we like move to the shadow of that mountain over there, please? I knew I should have brought my parasol with me.
Well, I am content to leave the fine-tuning of the barrier to cleverer minds. Let us bid our friends from the Ironworks farewell, and see what can be done for Alphino back in Dorma.
Ah well. Yesterday's enemies. It's been almost like a good year since I fought him, I guess, so it really is like yesterday's enemies. Alphino is safely ensconced in a private chamber. My finest healer is examining him as we speak. I've spoken with the physician, and there are no outward signs of illness. Alphino is lost in a sleep from which he cannot be awoken, just like the others. It seems that even the lands of the Empire were not far enough away to escape that cursed voice. I share your frustration, Alice, I do. But Alphino is returned to us alive and otherwise unharmed. All that remains is to find the means to wake him. Until then, you can but fulfill your duties as a scion, yours and your brother's both. You're right, of course. There are arrangements to be made and little time to make them. To business then, my lord. And now that we know that Seiryu's wall works as intended, can we expect reinforcements for Alamigo? It's Seiryu's Aegis. But yes, you most certainly can. As promised, we will send troops to bolster our allies in Eorzea without delay. Pray be aware, however, that they will not arrive without delay. Save for some few who boast teleportation magics, the bulk of our forces must be transported by sea. A lengthy voyage for which the smaller vessels favoured by the Confederacy are ill-equipped. Accordingly, I mean to enlist the assistance of the East Aldenar Trading Company in finding suitable ships. As for navigating the distances in question, we're in the happy position of being able to call upon those who had plotted the course of my people's exodus to Eorzea. Beyond the procurement of ships, I think it unlikely that our East Aldenar friends will consent to any involvement in military operations, but I am certain they will afford Alphino a berth aboard one of their vessels. I shall have a Chirurgeon, I remember how that's pronounced, accompany him every ilm of the way to the Rising Stones. You have my thanks, Lord Hien. Yugiri, I will go on ahead with our friends to Alamigo. Enlist all those capable of teleportation and put them at the disposal of the Eorzean Alliance as soon as possible. They will form the vanguard. Yes, my lord. This is exactly what we'd hoped for. Lys and the Alliance leaders will be glad indeed to welcome the combined strength of the East. Nod. There's an awfully vaguely European accent of someone dressed in that much Japanese garb. Are you talking about his actual voice, or me trying to... Meanwhile... Or me trying to mimic him, because all of my voices are going to end up being vaguely European. His actual voice, yeah. You're right. But I guess it's better...
Black Groves have been ruined, but the new plant is already under construction. We should have the first batch ready in time for the offensive, Your Radiance.
Oh, Gaius was wrong. I guess considering I think all the voice actors are British, it's probably better they don't put on any accents.
See that you do.
I love the Emperor. He's so out of place compared to everyone else.
Ah, yes, the infamous Black Crows. If I recall correctly, Gaius did not much care for the invention.
A ruthless and indiscriminate weapon indeed, this airborne poison. It seems you are capable of making decisions worthy of your bloodline.
With no gift for sorcery, we Garleans must look to Magitech to even the odds. If it spares the needless deaths of our soldiers and serves the cause of this empire, there is no method I would not employ.
How very noble of you. Truly, though, I must commend you for embracing your role as Emperor. You play the part of the determined ruler well. Sometimes even I catch myself believing.
I think the grammar was wrong compared to how the voice actor delivered that line, which is something that I do all the time when I misread it. But it's something I feel like they could have they could have. It's fine though. I would pay to have a British guy voice Hien with a fake Asian accent.
Silent agent of
I
death.
mean, it would be hilarious and also
Now that I think
just
on it,
massively,
Rose may well possess the perfect aspect.
massively offensive. Oh. It would be great if it was like all the rest of the people from Kogane and the Doma all speak with just a normal, as they do, and just Hien has just insanely problematic fake Asian accent that he's putting on.
Slowly but surely, the deluge of light has worked upon the ether here in the source, and the gas should be most susceptible to its influence. Well, I shall leave you to your own devices. Go forth and bloody the land with your grand and glorious war.
While you do what, precisely?
Would it? As a Frenchman, I hear English people speaking fake French accent on TV every day. I feel like, as someone who often also does fake French, and Australian, and American, and Canadian accents when the situation calls for it, I think it's okay. Given that they're all, it's me, be white person doing four accents from another ethnically white country. I think it's when it crosses races, that's when it sort of becomes a bit maybe not. We kind of stopped doing that in the 90s, I feel. Don't get me wrong, I love doing a Jamaican accent as much as the next person. It's a fun accent to do, but I appreciate that I probably shouldn't do it anymore.
I am well aware that your kind exists only to usher in the next calamity. But you seem oblivious to the harm your singular agenda causes to the Empire.
You do American accents, my I mean, I say that they're American. If you heard me doing them, you might disagree. As some of the people in chat whenever I do them.
You cannot have forgotten the events which followed your mortal demise. Our homeland was plunged into civil war for your failure to name a successor. The edifice you so carefully constructed was but a hair's breadth from collapse.
Triple
Are you truly so naive? You thought me oblivious to the consequences of a departure so painstakingly timed?
It was by design?
I feel like this is a conversation they should have had before now. I just found it's like, what, you meant to cause a civil war? And it's like, yes! I was bored!
Well, of course it was. Though I will admit the resulting panic exceeded even my wildest expectations. But how can you be surprised? Throwing the world into disarray was the very purpose for which this nation was, as you say, so carefully constructed. Now, if you have no further questions, I must be on my way. Since we may not meet again in this lifetime, it would be remiss of me not to offer a word or two of gratitude. I really must thank you for this surplus of vessels. I can mold any host into my own image, but having bodies tailor-made for me in this fashion is so much less tiresome.
Oh, so he can just take over whoever and turn them into himself. He's like, Orochimaru from Naruto. Yeah, that's my frame of reference. Honestly, a civil war started over boredom is less annoying to me than greed. Oh, yeah, and it's refreshing, honestly. Just like, yeah, no, I made my people go to, you know, I made my people go to war and kill each other just because, what else am I going to do with eternity? They look like they will need 5 minutes in the sun. The Guardians are very pale, especially the ones with the pearls on their foreheads, their third eye. They do need a bit of UV light, I think. Still started by boredom, everyone would agree is shitty. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, especially like just the vast majority were like, whoa, that's
elegant cloning techniques, yes? It certainly is a compelling, not to mention entertaining, field of research.
There aren't many people, other than the person who started the war, who'd be like, yeah, let's go. Boredom, woo!
And of all the options available, you chose the founding father on whom to experiment. You have a twisted streak to you, Varus, like grandsire, like grandson, hey? If events play out as planned, this will become something of a family enterprise.
Yeah.
You will be the capstone of this world, I the anchor and shard, and together we will give the lie to this star's fraudulent existence.
Again, I imagine that, like, as soon as Solus leaves the room, the soldiers and they're just like, Varus, I mean Emperor, should we, are we still listening to this guy, or should we, like, be doing something about him? Because I honestly don't think he's got the Empire's best interests at heart. So I'm just like, God, Steve, shut up! Stop getting us in trouble every time, I swear. It's nice that we've got like a nice new insane villain again. It's been a while. Ooh, we can get tea, a muffin, a shakshuka, and some silver. I'm probably just getting some silver. What time is it? 11:30. I think we've got time for probably at least one more mission. What are we at? Parley on the front lines. Oh, we're not far. In fact, yeah, let's do... Well, let's see how long this one takes. We must leave now to convene with Eorzea's leaders, and it may be some time before I return to Doma. Again, Hakaru, I leave you in command. My lord. I shall assemble an advance party with all haste and join you in Alamigo forthwith. I've just received word from Lys. The Alliance has established a base camp near Alamigo's northeastern border. Once we've arrived in the locks, we're to report to a resistance officer stationed in Porta Praetoria, who will point us in the right direction. Let's not keep him waiting. Okay. So, I guess it's not outright stated, but I guess they must be able to teleport. I haven't witnessed insanity yet. Well, that's something to look forward to. I don't know why I'm walking. It's always nice for that they don't, you know, top out early. We've still got two more. We've still got at least 2 more expansions to go through. I'd be disappointed if they went full crazy this early on. It must be the Scion party I saw to look out for. If you follow me, I'll take you directly to the Alliance headquarters. It's inside this caravan. It's very cramped, everyone's shoulder to shoulder. Rauban's just like, I don't like it in here. Ooh. Alright, lads, you know cannons. I got an idea. What if we had a cannon that was 4 times more powerful than a regular cannon? You've created a cannon that's 4 times more powerful than a regular cannon. What, with more powerful gunpowder? It's like, no.
Welcome
Hear
back,
me
you
out.
two. Greetings, Lord Hien. Glad you could join us.
Glad to be here. I would have come sooner, where our own defense is not in question, but I am pleased to report that our soldiers are assembling for deployment to Alamigo as we speak.
He's Goth, almost British, but he's no Vane Solidor. Now, there was a bad guy. I'm not familiar with Vane Solidor, I apologize. The Ninja Quests have a really funny, insane guy. Man, I don't really have... I mean, maybe one day, but I really don't have the time to level up all of the classes. But at the same time, I do want to see all of the class missions. Maybe I'll watch a video on the classes I don't do or something. But like I said, maybe because, you know, if I catch up and then the 5th expansion comes out, there will be downtime after each expansion where I'm waiting for the next thing, where I can do all of this stuff, I guess. So, or I play something else. He's the main baddie from FF12. Oh, okay. So he's one of the judges, upon which I think the Empire are based on. Like, all of Gaius is like a spitting image for I think Gaius and his like immediate cohort were all based on the judges from FF12. He runs the judges. Okay. So he's like the Supreme Court. I don't know how that works. Anyway.
We're grateful for your support. Thanks to the efforts of our allies, it won't be long before we've established defensive positions on this front as well.
We have some good news too. Alphino has come back to us. As for the bad news...
Half of him.
So, Alphino won't wake up, Gaius van Baelsar is alive and hunting Ascians, and the Empire is planning to poison us all with toxic gas. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. The bad does outweigh the good, I admit.
Ordinarily, any one of those things would have left me in shock. But the way things have been lately, it's all starting to seem pretty normal. Getting back to your report, are we sure this Black Rose is the weapon Maxima was talking about?
It fits the description. And it seems we have Alphino to thank for sparing us an early demonstration of its effectiveness. I have a feeling this won't be the last time his bravery in the Empire will serve us here in Eorzea. The threat of an unknown weapon has had us all on edge. But now that we know what we're dealing with, we can take steps to defend against it. As for Gaius, I'm not sure what to think. Am I happy he's alive? Not in the slightest. Am I happy he's hunting Ascians? Aye, I'd have to say I am.
A good Ascian is a dead
Speaking
Ascian.
of Garleans you didn't expect to see, we have a tale of our own, as it happens. When we sent envoys to the Imperial Army to request talks, they returned with the message that Varissos Galvus would be attending.
Huh.
The Emperor himself. Well, Varus did sanction the Popularis peace mission. But knowing that an Ascian walks in his son's skin, I do not see how we can trust him or anyone from that nest of vipers.
Yeah, his family situation is quite complicated at the moment. He has a clone. His grandfather's running around as a clone. I mean, I assume his dad's still dead. And his son is a zombie being puppeted by an Ascian.
The Alliance would proceed with negotiations regardless, if only to give ourselves more time to prepare. We do, however, require your cooperation.
I mean, God knows what if he's, you know, what the rest of his family's like. It's all a big misunderstanding. The Emperor shows up with a gift, a new perfume he's developed called Black Rose. It smells lovely.
Right. Yes. So, as a condition for the talks to go forward, the Empire has requested that a member of the Scions be present. There'll be a representative from each Alliance nation, of course, but I'm afraid we have to ask that you come along too.
God, Lise, you know how much I hate politics. But then, what choice do I have? Alphino and the others aren't going to do it.
We haven't even asked Tataru. Again, we haven't even checked in on Tataru either. She could be lying dead in the office in Kugane, and just no one's just like, are we gonna check on her? We've sent messages to the Scions, but they're just ignoring our calls. I don't think they really care. How many psychiatrists do you need to fix all these family issues? I think we're beyond the psychiatrist level. I think we need exorcists to fix the problems with the Garlean royal family.
Very well. I shall attend as the Scion's representative.
Can I come?
In case you're wondering why I didn't ask you, the Empire also requested the presence of Eorzea's champion.
Ah. I'm not fond of politics either. It's been... I mean, honestly, we've been playing for...
You're not, are you? Come on, if Alizé can put on a brave face, then so can you. Now, we don't know what Varys means to bring to the table, or why he wants you there. But having you close at hand should make all the difference.
I've been playing the entire evening and I haven't fought anything. We've just been talking. Fine, nod.
The meeting will take place on the border. Anticipating an early assault, we mean to position the bulk of our forces nearby.
The Alliance leaders should already be on their way. Once you're ready, we can head out and join them.
I'm sure this mission... Am I going to get a message about cutscenes talking to Lise? I'm sure this mission will be completely... These peace talks with Varys will be completely uneventful, and everything will go as expected. Well, I don't suppose it's polite to keep an Emperor waiting too long, shall we? Parley with the Emperor? Yes. I didn't get a message about cutscenes, so maybe this will be short. Steve, it's the Warrior of Light. Shh. I'm growing really fond of these two cards. I've invented an entire persona in my head of these two, the backstory of these two. What a knob, though, arranging a peace talk like this and giving himself a chair that's bigger and fancier than everyone else's. Like, he is bigger and fancier than everyone else, but still.
Esteemed representatives of the Eorzean Alliance, on behalf of the Garlean Empire, I thank you for inviting me here today.
Has it really been 3 hours of story? Yeah, I started at about 9 o'clock, and it is coming up to 11:40 at the moment. I have not drawn my sword once. We have just been running around and talking. I mean, there was a great trial right at the end of a great instance fight at the end of last week, and annoyingly, I think we have a dungeon in the next mission. But I don't think it's wise to start a dungeon at midnight because it takes so long to queue at the best of times. So we might go the entire session without any combat. So with that in mind, I am going to rescind the ban on magic, but I will refund you. I'll refund you your petals because I appreciate that. I mean, technically, I did not use magic, but at the same time, I haven't had the opportunity to use magic. Long queue I'm on. Don't be silly. Look, we you know how Hildebrand went. I don't want to be up until 1:30 again trying to queue for a dungeon at midnight.
As this parley was convened at your request, I invite you to speak first.
We'll see how long this takes. If this quest
Very
takes us
well,
to
Your
midnight,
Radiance.
I'm going to call it there.
I,
But
Nanimo Ulnamo, 17th in the line of Ul, should be pleased to oblige you.
that said, if Hildebrand is a side quest, yeah, but it's the best side quest. But you do make a good point. That said, even if we do the dungeon tonight, I probably wouldn't be able to get away with not using magic in it because I would just die, and I'm okay doing that when it's just my own time I'm wasting, but when I'm wasting the time of other people, I feel bad. So I'll just refund the cost because yeah, it's been an hour and I technically haven't used magic, I guess, other than to teleport.
As recent events in
Heal and
Alamigo and
DPS.
Doma have made plain, the subjugation and exploitation of neighboring nations is not a sustainable policy.
I mean, I can still do DPS, just very little.
Should this day end in war, you may very well defeat us. But you will never extinguish the people's desire for freedom. Though it may not be in our lifetime, there will be another revolution, another war, and the cycle will continue.
Oh, if you insist, Briar. I feel bad because I didn't get a chance to actually make good on it.
Doma has entered into a concord with the nations of Eorzea, a partnership wherein we recognize one another as equals. Garlemald could be afforded similar treatment. You need only set aside your ambitions and join us in paving a path towards peace.
You will not win me over with sophistry, Your Grace. As you know only too well, this alliance lacks the strength to keep the peace within its own borders. Even now, your struggles with the Beastmen continue unabated.
Do they? I thought they'd pretty much just kind of given up.
Divided, you sow this fertile soil with the seeds of your differences and reap naught but discord and chaos for your trouble. Eorzea must be united under one leader, one purpose. I would offer you both and bring an end to your strife.
With all due respect, Your Radiance, the only thing that you offered the people of Alamigo was fear and hopelessness.
The citizens of Doma can also attest to the meager arms of Imperial rule. There is no purpose to be found in a life of oppression, each day more uncertain than the last.
Our people are willing to die for their freedom. A great many already have, and countless more will, if we don't put an end to this madness here and now.
We brought order and stability to your lives. This madness and bloodshed is of your own making. You broke the peace, not Garlemald.
Oh god, he's as bad as Putin.
Peace. Order. You kill our peoples, despoil our lands, take everything that is ours. And what? You expect us to lick the boot that grinds our faces into the dirt?
I expect you to weigh the costs. To recognize that countless lives have been lost on both sides in pursuit of a greater good, and to not squander all we have achieved in a fit of petulance.
I mean, it's nice that they're sort of, like, without a question of a doubt, they're going like, okay.
Your Radiance. I fear I can personally attest to the dangers of pursuing one's vision with such righteous fervor.
Like, it's like, okay, well, I think it's pretty clear that peace is not an option here, and we are just going to have to go to war with this guy because he is resolute in his desire to be like an empire king. Order and stability by enslaving everyone who surrendered and killing everyone who didn't. Exactly. It's a way to ensure order and stability, much in the same way as, you know, blowing up planets with the Death Star is a way to ensure order and stability.
For 1,000 years, the Holy See of Ishgard waged war with dragons.
Unapologetically evil. I mean, yeah, you got to admire him that he's sticking to his convictions. He's like, no, this is the right thing to do.
1,000 years of sacrifice, of sorrow and hate, in which we bathed in the blood of friend and foe alike. Had it gone on any longer, we may well have drowned.
That's just like, I'm not a dragon. Your metaphor makes no sense to me.
Yet we have chosen to raise ourselves out of this bloody spiral, and have since made peace with our former enemy.
So I understand. No doubt the dragons were more receptive to your overtures in the wake of their leader's demise. You speak of peace, yet use war to achieve it. Your father would not have bothered to obscure his intent with honeyed words. He understood that strength is all that matters in the end.
Yeah, but he died. I killed him. So... It's nice having a shrug button. It's unfortunate that I'm too far over to the side that you can't see my other arm, though, but, you know, that's the nature of a shrug.
Without his clarity of vision, I can but wonder what will become of Ishgard and her people.
I love that everyone's in fantasy armored rose and this dandy bright red suit and a pompadour. I do have more like fantasy aesthetic gear in my red mage armor. I also have less. I have what do football players wear? Varsity jacket and jeans, which is my casual clothes.
There was a time when Garlemald, too, lacked a leader of conviction. Weak and unable to wield magic, we were at the mercy of the strong, from whom we sought refuge in the bitter cold of the north. Were it not for the discovery of ceruleum and the subsequent development of Magitech, we might never have gained the power to take back that which was rightfully ours.
For 40 times good writing on their bad guys. A lot of games have evil guys that are just so boring you don't even want to kill them. Yeah, I feel like a good bad guy is someone you want to kill, which is sometimes easy to do. But the thing with a lot of the bad guys in Final Fantasy XIV, I feel like a lot of them are not all of them. La Brea was definitely in the I love to hate him category. But then you got other bad guys who are like, oh, become a good guy, I want you to join my team. Like Magus from Chrono Trigger. It's like, come on, stop being a bad guy, dude. Stop being a bad guy and join my team. Go on, you know you want to. Like Nero and Gaius. And, like, Nero's my favourite bad guy who's defected. He's just, I love that Sid, just him and Sid's relationship is great. And Yotsia, while she lasted.
You speak as if your people were the first to have been driven from their homes. Limsa Lominsa was built by wayward souls in search of a place to call their own. On the shores of Vilbrand we found it, and from those humble beginnings did we grow and flourish. And all without robbing our neighbours of their liberty.
Yeah, but I still want to curb stomp Nero, even though he's good. Nero's great! He's just such a shit stirrer. I love him.
So saith the pirate. Am I to believe that you simply asked the kobolds to yield up their lands and that they were happy to oblige you? That you did not drive them out like rats in the hold of one of the many ships seized by your privateers?
I will concede that after centuries of exile, reclamation may be mistaken for invasion. Nevertheless, it is not. And those who till stolen soil have no right to object when cast out in turn.
Your uncompromising nature rivals that of the Ixal. They too lament circumstances which they themselves perpetuate. Were they but to embrace peace, we would welcome them with open arms. Indeed, some few have done just that, and now receive of the 12's Wood's bounty. Would that your people might learn from their example.
Imagine if Garlean became a playable race in the next expansion.
You dare compare us to the Birdmen? You who thought to invoke the 12 and threaten all of creation?
Yeah, I'll compare you to a bird, man. Look at your hat.
I came here in the hope of finding some speck of common ground, but I see now these discussions will accomplish nothing.
Yotze wanted to kill until you learn more when she turns into a child. Yeah, she had twists and turns to her. Like, I like when they have a villain that has a good... Well, I like that they have a villain who has a good reason for being evil, but I also do appreciate the villains who are just like, nah, I just did it for the lol. You know, I just did it to see... I thought it was funny. You know? It's just... wanted to see what happened. Wouldn't work. Guardians can't use magic. Yeah, but this is the Warrior of Light. So it's a special Guardian who has Heidelin's blessing. And they could all comment on, like, whoa, that's weird. But yeah, you're right. There probably is more effort than
Despite
it's...
what you people may believe, I am not wont to choose the sword over the olive branch. 'Tis but a pity men are loath to accept one without first being shown the other.
You know, got bored on a Sunday, destroy that village, made tea. Exactly. It's like that M. Bison quote from the Street Fighter movie. To you, it was the day that M. Bison came to your village and uprooted your life. To me, it was a Tuesday. You know, it's just like, it doesn't, I don't care.
Wait, I beg you. This meeting was supposed to be a chance to find a way forward together, not to bemoan the missteps which brought us here. Please, if you truly consider violence a last resort, there must be a way we can come to an agreement.
As Mistress Alisaie says, we did not come here to bicker over the past, but to discuss how we might strive towards a brighter future. Emperor Varys, may I suggest a short recess, that all present might compose themselves prior to beginning anew?
Very well. I pray this intermission will suffice to move these talks in a more constructive direction.
There must be a way we can come to an agreement. Yes, surrender. I mean, honestly, things are going the Empire's way just generally. If the ether's thinning out, surely we're going to be unable to use magic soon. And then the Empire can just steamroll us. We don't have magitech. Phew, this really is not my forte. After his Radiance's little performance, it was all I could do not to swear at him. I honestly don't... do they even have swear words in this game? I honestly don't know how I ended up playing the Mediator. I just asked myself what Alphino would have done. Tried my best to do the same, and by some miracle it worked. Or is Alisaie's mind something like golly gosh? Is that like a swear word? She's like, oh no, I couldn't possibly. Darn him. Oh. Sorry, I got so worked up. But there really is no common ground to be found with that man, nor do I think he looked for any. So the question becomes, what did he come here to do? Because you may be certain it wasn't to make peace. Whatever it is, I can't make it out. Not yet, at least. We do have a little time before the parley is due to reconvene, though, so why not try consulting our illustrious leaders? Mayhaps they have some insights to share. I think like he's just like testing the water, isn't he? Just to kind of see where we're at. I'm surprised he didn't mention the fact that the only scion of the Seventh Dawn in presence was a 16-year-old girl, who is not our leader. It's like, where are the rest of the scions? Mother Fluva, Gobfan, it's son of a chocobo. Yeah, this is it. She's incredibly pure in terms of. We have the power of friendship. Thal's balls is one. Yes, that is one that people do say. But again, I feel like it's still very tame. It's still very like PG-13. Well, not even PG-13. PG now. In terms of a. In fact, you could probably get away with Thal's balls and a U. I will say one thing for this Varys. He is well versed in Eorzean history. His interest in our affairs is that of a beast in its prey. The conqueror would know his enemies. All should know their enemies, yet there is much and more we do not know of the Empire. Then it's up to us to change that, here and now. You would have me ask the Emperor himself? Well, mayhap there is some wisdom in that. If we can skirt the storm of his displeasure, we may yet come to our answers, even if it does mean sailing close to the wind. Exactly, like a pirate. 12 have mercy, but for Lady Alisay's timely introduction, we may well have to come to blows on the negotiating table. Not that Emperor Varys has left us a great many options. Is unconditional surrender all he will accept, do you think? Maybe we can condition the surrender slightly. Ere he arrived, I had said yes, but having heard him speak, I cannot help but think he came here with some other end in mind. Exactly. He's building up to something, I know it. How then should we approach the rest of the parley? Have you anything to say, Warrior of Light? Invite Varys to explain himself. Yeah, just communicate. You believe he is more apt to reveal the truth if we put him at his ease. Mayhap you are right. Thank you, Jack. This parley was never like to bring peace, but I had hoped to learn something of Emperor Varys' relations with the Ascians. As had we all. Yet if he is in league with them, he is not like to volunteer the fact. And if he is not, how much weaker would his position seem for their presence? If we are to broach that particular subject, we would need to be subtle. Would that I knew more of the man. If you would indulge me, Lord Hien, you received an imperial education, did you not? Is it true that the Emperor's will is considered absolute? There is no higher authority in all of Garlemald, nor anywhere else in the heavens, come to that. Veneration of the gods is forbidden, the only worship permitted being that of His Radiance's own person. That sounds suspiciously like a religion in itself. I share your disdain for the hypocrisy. Even as they denigrate the idea of faith, they revere their leaders with a further others reserved for the divine. It is a flaw common to much of the doctrine they feed us. Logical on the surface, perhaps, but contradictory upon closer examination. I wonder if a discussion of the various discrepancies might prompt Varys to reveal something. Okay, I have given my opinion, as the wisest person here. You've spoken with everyone, then? Good. Now all that remains is to await the pleasure of the Emperor, and hope we fare better at the second attempt. Ah, yeah. Let's take the Emperor's pleasure.
Now then, who would have the floor?
Hear me out. We could shoot him in the face. He foolishly left it unarmored.
Before we resume, I wish to offer you an apology. After you graciously accepted our invitation to discuss an armistice, we have done naught but rebuke you at every opportunity. I believe I speak for all of us when I say we are deeply sorry for our discourtesy.
It probably turned gold, and a boss fight would kick off. It's more than I can. It's more than I can do at midnight, unfortunately. The Emperor's pleasure. That's what he calls it. That's what he calls it. If you think his hat's
I'll
pointy...
admit your familiarity with our affairs surprised me, and served to remind me how little I know of yours.
I think all here can understand the desire to reclaim one's homeland. But why expand further? That is my question.
If I may, the answer can be found in the Imperial doctrine they took great pains to impart to my people. Recognizing the threat icons posed to the world, Solus Zos Galvus decreed that they were to be eradicated. To this end, he began a campaign to unite all lands under the Garlean banner. Or so we were taught. Yet the Emperor only reached the burn, the Baron said to have been laid waste by icons, after conquering all the lands that lay between. What is more, I am quite certain the practice of summoning was not nearly so widespread in the days before the Empire's founding.
When you put it like that, it all starts to sound like an excuse, doesn't it? But to distract from what? Why are you really waging this war?
That was a weird
Finally, you ask the right question. I can but hope you heed mine answer and at last accept the righteousness of our cause. My goal is this: to return the world to the way it once was, the way it was always meant to be. In doing so, mankind will be made whole once more.
Oh, this isn't like an instrumentality thing, is it? You're gonna make us turn us all into orange goop.
No longer will we suffer from the dissension born of our differences. There will be but one race, a perfect race, as we were when time began.
Alright, well, it's either an instrumentality thing or a Nazi thing. Either way.
What in Rolga's name are you talking about?
My granddaddy told me to. While turning your dead wife into a clone pilot, you have very wrong feelings for. I mean, we haven't seen the Emperor's wife, and he does love giant robots.
I am talking about the origins of this star, of the source and its 13 reflections. At the instant of the great sundering, 'twas not only the world that was shattered, but mankind itself. Thus were we divided into myriad races, each with its own unique imperfections. That is why man looks upon his neighbor and feels fear and hatred, why he wages war, why he kills his brother.
Okay, it's starting to sound less like a religion and more like a cult.
You all in your own way have proven as much today. The peace you seek is but a fleeting solution to a fundamental problem. One which calls for more drastic measures. To bring about everlasting peace, our worlds must be rejoined.
Oh, is this like a Crisis on Infinite Earths type situation? Are we gonna like merge all the multiverse back together?
That is the goal the Empire would see realized. The glorious future unto which we shall one day shepherd mankind.
A rejoining of worlds?
I have heard this tale of the Source and its reflections before.
Are these not the self-same desires as the Ascians?
Emperor Varys, do not trust in their words. They will lead you to your doom. My father thought to use them, but in the end he succumbed to their temptations. He embraced summoning like so many other pawns before him. Do not tell us you mean to do the same.
To be a pawn,
free from the burden of choice would be a blessing. But I forswore that privilege the day I learned that the Gallian Empire was built by the hand of an Ascian.
I think he likes just unfolding and folding his arms because he likes the sound of the metal clanking together.
What?
I've decided.
Yes. My grandsire, the former emperor, is of their number. And who better to build an empire capable of bringing about the calamitous change we desire?
I'm impressed he can even do it with that much armor. It's specially custom made. Like, if anyone can make the Empire giant armor that allows him to fold his arms, the Emperor can. He's the one who can get it done.
Would you condemn me for this alliance? For bowing to the will of these shadowy masters when the prize is true and lasting peace?
The prize is a lie. Your master's demons.
I come not to conquer, but to liberate. To free man from the prison of divergence.
Imagine a world united. One perfect race beneath a single standard.
Salutations, acting hero. Impressive that his hat doesn't give him neck problems. Yeah, he has a very thick neck. I'm honestly surprised there aren't more situations where he walks out of a room and bops it on the door frame and it falls onto the floor in like a really awkward clatter, and he has to just awkwardly bend down and pick it up and put it back on, and then he ducks under the door frame. And meanwhile, Steve and John, his two personal guards, are giggling to themselves.
An army before whose might these servants of darkness and light would fly as leaves in a storm, never again to meddle in man's affairs. We would be the masters of our own fate. I bid you join me, not as subjects of Garlemald, but of a new nation. And together we shall win freedom for ourselves and generations yet unborn.
Before he raises his hand. Can we call it Dandyland? No! Ah, you fiend! I'll cut you and the Ascians down where you stand.
You want to trigger another half-dozen calamities? You can't be serious!
Have you forgotten how many died? There will be no one left.
Do you truly imagine we would aid you in your bloodletting?
Calm the Imperial, like armored Sephiroth cosplayer, calm the Imperialism down a bit. It's a bit much.
It is unthinkable. Unconscionable.
I can't help but think, though, the reason he's come here to be like, hey, I'm going to tell you all of this, is to get us to, stop him. I get the feeling he doesn't really want to do it anymore now that he knows the reason behind it, but he's kind of like, well, I'm already too deep into this, so I'll just tell you everything and then you can stop me, and then I can be like, haha, well, that was good enough. It's win-win. I either win, which is, good, or I lose, which is what I want.
And what is the alternative? To be as cattle waiting for slaughter? I would have us work together, that we might take fate into our own hands.
I like that Nanamo stood up and went further behind the table. Ah, a little potato fairy. And there you go. Part of what I said earlier, their goal is to cause calamities and nukes won't work. Yeah, I guess you need people to do calamities, so it could work. I mean, if you kill all the people who don't want to...
Into your hands, perhaps.
If you wipe out all the people who don't want to reconcile, and you're left only with the people who do want to reconcile, then, it's a lot easier to reconcile.
But what of the other worlds, your Radiance? With every calamity, you obliterate a star and every soul that dwells on it.
That's why you go around slapping people and turning them into orange goo. I've seen the end of Ava. I understand some of it. There's specific requirements to cause the calamities. Oh, okay.
To the Ascians, we are all but tiny, momentary specks within an indifferent universe. We cannot hope to oppose them until we have been made whole once more.
My computer just beeped. I don't know why. Something disconnected. Ah! Am I still streaming? I'm still live. But I lost connection with the... I don't think that was... Hang on. Why did my computer beep and then Final Fantasy XIV lost connection? That doesn't make any sense. Am I still live? I'm still here. Okay. Well, that was the end of Final Fantasy XIV, I guess. It's a weird place to stop the story. Did the FF14 servers just go down mid-cutscene? You're still on, okay. Lobby server connection has encountered an error. Okay. I might have to restart. Let me, just off for 2 seconds. And there we go. I'm still standing next to the dungeon. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have time for the dungeon tonight. It's... Especially if I have to redo the most of that cutscene. I mean, I can hammer through... I can hammer back through the dialogue that we'd already done, but... it depends where it starts us. If it kicks us out and makes us redo that whole thing... Okay, I think we're at the... Okay, we're not that far. I'll hammer back to where we were. But yeah, it's midnight. I'm sleepy.
Then, who...
Before...
Alan...
I think...
If I reckon... Us.
When you put...
It's weird interrupting them like this.
Fine.
We still got a ways to go, though. They're not even angry yet.
Nope. That...
What?
Yep. But it... That. You really realise how many lingering shots they do on people's faces when you're skipping through the dialogue.
That...
It's like in One Piece when the pacing got really... Well...
Arena.
And Dragon Ball, like where it's just half the episode is reaction shots of characters going like, oh, I can't believe he did a Kamehameha. We're playing The Sims. It does sound very Simlish when they talk in quick succession, doesn't it? Felix back, welcome babe.
But I...
Come on, they're not even stood up yet.
Yeah. Would you...
I can make the same joke about Nanamo, though. It's fortunate that I chose the correct answer, the same answer I did last time.
Him?
Okay, and then we talked about his hat falling off and his thick neck. You. Me.
You want...
Alright, they're starting to stand up now.
Have you...
Do you...
Have you? Do you? Are we? Why though? But the... And the...
And what is the alternative? To be as cattle waiting for slaughter? I would have us work together, that we might take fate into our own hands.
I think this is about where we were.
Into your hands, perhaps.
Oh no. Well, I'll go
What
from
of
here.
the other worlds, your radiance? With every calamity, you obliterate a star and every soul that dwells on it.
To the Ascians, we are all but tiny, momentary specks within an indifferent universe. We cannot hope to oppose them until we have been made whole once more.
Game didn't like me making fun of the vertically challenged. Sorry, Lalafels. You're adorable, but it is funny.
Are these truly the words of Garlemald's ruler? The flaws and foibles which you so abhor are what make us who we are. Every nation, even yours, Emperor Varys, is made whole through the combination of these imperfections, the strengths of one compensating for the weaknesses of another.
It is throw a short person month, just saying. That's why Nanamo sat to the right of Rauban, so that at any moment he can just fling her at the Empire and he can just scratch his eyes out.
While it is true that man succumbs all too often to anger and avarice, he may yet overcome his baser instincts through the forming of bonds with others, fostering community and cooperation. That the protector of an empire should not only reject these fundamental truths, but seek to change them at so dear a cost to life is indefensible. Such a man is not fit to govern.
And you, warrior of light, would you refuse me as well?
Yes. I literally said that I would kill you and your masters like 10 seconds ago.
It would seem the Alliance is of one mind on this matter.
Really condone the loss of life when it's funny. Well, we condone the loss of life when I'm the one taking it.
You Eorzeans never cease to disappoint me. Though I suppose I have only myself to blame for expecting more from savages.
Yeah.
This discussion is at an end. I bid you make ready for our next meeting. It will not be at the negotiating table.
Well, that went well, Steve. Shh. Just all you have to do is stand there in silence and we'll get a good pension. Right, I guess we're going to war. I came back to find Doma's advance party ready and waiting for battle. That was quick. Oh, they're the advance party. They're the ones who can teleport. So as worrying as our little chat with the Emperor was, it did buy enough time for at least some of our allies to arrive. Neat. Da-da-da. So, yeah, I guess we're going to war, but that's, like I said, that's going to have to wait till next time, because it's 12:20, and I'm I'm supposed to stream again in under 12 hours, so unfortunately we will finish a Requiem for Heroes next week. There's 3 missions left of Stormblood. So I think what we'll do is we'll start off with the Face of War next week. Yes, the Face of War. The Face of War. Finish off Stormblood, see what time it is. Because I'm not underestimating the fact that it's 3 missions. I know for a fact that I have done that a single mission can sometimes take me an hour and a half. And this is like the big climax of Stormblood / the lead into Shadowbringers. So it could well take the whole evening. But if it doesn't, we might start the Monster Hunter stuff. 12 hours, plenty of time to play FF14. No, I will probably, because I always have trouble falling asleep right after I finish streaming because of all of the energy drink. So I always do something to kind of like wind down. So I will go and play Triple Triad with that frog that I fought earlier. Get those 4 cards off of him. That's important to me. I will go and do that. But I'll do that off stream while I'm waiting for sleepiness to kick in. So yeah, but yeah, good progress. We built a wall, and then we talked a lot. We got Alphino back. Most of the Scions are in a coma, and we declared war with the Empire. We failed peace talks, so that was nice. The walk and wait. There's cards. It is literally like, okay, negotiations with the Emperor have fallen down. Everyone, prepare yourselves for war. And the Warrior of Light's just like, I got a frog. I need to go play cards with real quick. I'll be back in a week. Yeah, a week. Cool. You guys hold out without me until then. I'll come back and swoop in at the final minute and help out. Maybe I'll have a better sword by then. Maybe I won't. Who knows? We'll see what my week plays out. So, yeah, let's stop there for the night. And we shall pick this up again, same time, next Final Fantasy Friday. I say same time. I'll try and start at 8:30, I always do, but more likely it'll be 9 o'clock, because that's just how bad I am with timekeeping. Friday always seems to be a day that I'm just so bad at actually finishing work on time. It always overruns, and then I just always take ages setting up everything. It doesn't help that I do try and I do spend like 20 minutes setting up a setting up the screenshot for the Twitter post. This one took me a little while to get the otter in the right place. That doesn't help, but it's essential. I need that. Right. Yeah. We'll call it there. Thanks for watching, guys. Next stream's tomorrow. As I said, try and start at 12 o'clock, provided I get to sleep early enough that I can get up in time to eat lunch, which is normally what delays me. But more Breath of the Wild randomizer. I think we might be able to get to Ganon tomorrow. That's my plan. We can finish off the randomizer, but it's entirely up to the RNG of Hylia. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. If you did, I've been Jack Dandy. You've all been Just Dandy. And I shall see you anon. Good night, everyone. Have a good whatever with your whatever.